Hey, welcome back to an episode of the Instagram podcast. I'm your host Juan. As always, my co-host are with me. Hey, Trip.
Sup, bitch?
hey, bitch.
Okay, that one got you.
That was good. Nice to see you. I like how that's how you greet me. Thank you. I think I greeted you today with like little lady or something like that.
Yeah, and I was like, woo, look at us go. Anyways, this week we were talking about the winter anime of 2021, and we're wrapping them up. So lots of spoilers this episode, but if you see them listed in the description or whatever, on the, whatever, then you know that we probably liked it, except Promised Neverland Season 2, which
sucked ass, yeah.
We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it. I'm sorry.
How have you been?
Good. I'm still a little shaken by being called a bitch at the beginning of the podcast. It's not.
Hey, man, today we are all bitches.
We are all bitches.
It's a good day to be a bitch. You know, even though we're a holiday podcast, we haven't done a couple of things. April Fool's podcast, we didn't have that. We didn't have a fucking St. Patrick's Day podcast. I'm sure that there's another one, somebody's birthday. Happy birthday, by the way, if it's your birthday. This week we are celebrating the biggest holiday of all, Chris no longer being on call, baby.
Oh, really funny. I was gonna say we are celebrating.
No, I know.
No. I was like, we're doing April. Was it like April Saint Easter? We're fucking doing them all together. But this is actually a better one. No. For people who don't know, Trip has quit his job, and he's got one more week after this one, I think. But I knew
a solid 6-week notice.
I knew today was something like today's like the last of something. Like I was texting you and you're like, it's my last day on call. It's like, oh fuck, that's dope. Yeah. So before we're doing the pod and before we're streaming, we're talking, and then all of a sudden you go, hold on, I gotta take this. And it's like an on-call emergency. And it dawned on me that we have been doing this for a very long time. You've been on call for so many times. You have literally never taken a call. And on your last day of being on call, you get one during when we're supposed to be doing the pod. So
I have been supremely fortunate to have never been interrupted by being on call. However, I have been interrupted while being on call during the podcast. I think with Kate, we had interruption for it, and I had to cut stuff out. Yeah, like it happens. It happens a lot when I'm playing video games and we playing stuff, and I'm like, all right, perfect, let's do it. And then 5 minutes after, like, getting everything set up, I'm like, all right, guys, I'm gonna have to take a call. I'll be back in 15 to 20 minutes, hopefully. Peace.
Yeah.
It always sucks.
But it's hopefully that's just like that was a one-off, and it's not gonna curse this episode, this final on-call episode. Happy last day on call, Trip.
Happy last day on call. Also, shout outs to your little dude in your life.
Shout outs to my nephew.
On
the 5th was his birthday. He turned double digits. We had him over for dinner. I think I told you sometime last month on a Sunday, and we were all talking, and we're like, chopping it up, and he goes, "Yep, gonna be double digits pretty soon." He goes, almost time for me to, move out of the house. And we're just like, really? And then his dad goes, "You're gonna move out of the house? Like, you don't have a job. You also have no work ethic. You're not gonna make it." And my nephew said something wild. I don't know if I mentioned to you, but he goes, "Well, there's only one job I can really have. Obviously making games for Nintendo." And me and Sierra just start laughing. We're like, "Okay,
obviously,
bud.
Dude.
Obviously,
are you kidding me?
Obviously, the one job you can have is making games for Nintendo." And I was like, "Dude, that's just kids. The way their brain thinks." They go, "I'll just work for Nintendo. How hard is that?"
I just gotta work for Nintendo, no big deal. As a kid, I was like, video games, those are too high of aspirations.
Yeah.
I wanna do some candy store business, and then I never did. So.
Oh, bro, you still could. Don't do it. You'll have to deal with people. Don't fucking do it.
I'll open up an Akashic of my own.
Yeah. So happy birthday to my nephew. He's 10 years old. I think he finally finished My Hero
Academia.
Yeah, the Macadamia. We got him for his birthday. We got him a Transformers. He's really into Transformers right now. So I got him I went to Target, and I was like, the ones that he wanted weren't there. I was like, so I hit up my sister, like, "Hey, does he have any of these?" Like, no. But I picked a really dope one. It was Optimus Primal from the Transformers that are like animals.
Yeah.
And I was just like, dude, this show came out when I was a kid. And I had this toy, not like this specific mark, but that Optimus Primal. And I was just like, this shit's fucking sick. Like, maybe I'll just keep this for myself, And I was like, no, it's the only one, and this one's dope as fuck. I guess I'll have to buy it for him. I also got him a comic book. He likes the idea of comic books, like just like single issues.
Okay,
kind of
okay.
Like, I think it's very like reminiscent of like Spider-Man or whatever. He's like Miles Morales, like, oh, he'll read his comic book. So I was like, so every now and then I'll just go get him like a single issue of something, and he's usually cool with it. It's like a Ninja Turtles comic book. And then I also while I was at the comic book store, I got him a Miles Morales Venom bobblehead. So that's the Spider-Man in like Venom form. And I was like, and a pop toy. I was like, he'll love this. He'll probably play with it as a toy. He probably doesn't even know it's a figure or whatever. But he was fucking stoked. Fucking dude made out like a bandit. Homie got an iPad, Beats by Dre, fucking hella Transformers. Well, his parents got him an iPad because his last iPad had the screen was all shattered. Like, okay, cool, new gift. His grandma got him just some Beats. Like, I was like, what the fuck, dude? My grandma never got me shit. And then we got him Transformers and stuff like that. So yeah, man, it's cool. Also, I think I've said in the past, my sister's, pregnant. She's like super close to having a kid, dude. Like all of today, she's just been like, I think it's going to happen, man. Like I am not feeling good. And they even went to the hospital and they came back and they're like, they said not yet, but she is fucking miserable. So I'm on call at any moment. I can be called and be like, hey, you have to go pick up my kid. And he's going to be staying with us for a couple days while they're having the baby. And then, hopefully when they, chill at the hospital and stuff like that. So should be cool. At least my family's super excited to be welcoming a new member into it. So should be good.
Yeah, man. Families love babies.
I don't know. The older I've gotten, the more I've gotten into the idea of like, yeah, babies are cool. I should get used to being around them if I plan on having kids myself. Like maybe I should learn how to deal with them. So I'm super excited to meet my new niece whenever she decides to join us in this realm. From her other isekai. My guess is that the person that is gonna die and go into her body hasn't died in the other world yet. They're really fucking close though, and
they're hanging on.
Yeah, they're just hanging on by a thread.
They got hit by a truck, but they're still in the hospital.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So that's a little bit. Let's see. I was gonna just run you through some stuff I did this past week.
Yeah, run me through it, baby.
We've been Sierra and I have been watching Hell's Kitchen recently, and
that show.
We've had the idea of like one of my favorite episodes is the episode where they do the blind taste test, and I was like, that would be fun to do. We should try that out, Like we kind of said it like a couple weeks ago, and then this week we said, fuck it, let's do it. So I went to the grocery store, and she went to the grocery store like separately, and we bought a few items, and we like blindfolded ourselves and like gave each other like the things and see like what you got to see what our palettes were. I won 5 out of 5.
Nice.
Sierra 3 out of 5. But to be fair, Sierra did really good. The ones that she missed was like she said I gave her Gouda and she said like white cheddar. I was like, okay, I can see that. They're both like a white cheese,
Mm-hmm.
And then I gave her pepperoni and she said salami. I was like, I also can see that.
That's close.
The mistake in that one. But fucking I nailed all mine, dude. Fucking parsley, fucking cactus, horseradish, walnuts. One other thing. Oh, crab meat. I was just like, all right, cool. And then I ate a little tin of crab meat because we had a bunch left over, and I was really happy. My stomach was not, though.
Damn,
so that was fun. I was surprised to see how efficient my palate is. This week, Sierra and I went on a date. She's been bugging me a bunch because she's like, we don't go on dates anymore. And I go, because the fucking world closed, dude. Like, like nothing's open. But, Sierra and I have now, it's been 2 weeks since our last shot where, we're completely fully vaccinated. So like, fuck it, let's go. I gave her the option. I was like, hey, let's go to dinner. Well, we went to dinner and it's like, while we're doing, like, do you want to just do like the classic like dinner and then head over to a movie and then kind of go home, or dinner and you good? And she's like, oh, I'm kind of tired. So we did dinner. It was fun. We just had a couple drinks and it was nice. It was just nice to kind of be out of the house and enjoy the world or whatever. I don't know, how many other people around are vaccinated, but I was like, I know I am, and like, that makes me feel comfortable enough to be like, okay, I'm gonna go out there and still not, practice social distancing and all that shit. But
hell yeah,
it's cool. It's nice to be in a fucking sit down restaurant and go on a date.
Yeah,
let's see.
Sounds really nice.
What else this week? I also made barbecued ribs. I've never done that before, but Sierra's like, I bought this rack of ribs and we're gonna barbecue them. Here you go. And I go, Okay. Thank you for that. Thank you
How'd
for
they
pushing
turn
me.
out?
I thought they were pretty good.
Good.
We cut the ribs in half, like split them. And I said, "Hey, how about you make these in the oven and I make mine on the grill?" Because I've never done it before, and my biggest concern is like me fucking them up and then us not having dinner, kind of thing. And I
Yeah.
know, like, I've had ribs in the oven, like they're good. I was like, and I'm sure you can do them, like, so we'll just do that. So we had a little bit of each. I think the barbecue ones were like a little bit better just because they were crispier.
Mm-hmm.
But the flavor on like the seasoning on the oven ones were better. So I was like, in the future, just have to make sure to season the grill ones
Just
a
more.
little
Yeah.
heavier. Yeah. But yeah, it was fun. It was entertaining to see. It was cool. Also, whenever I make food, I usually send it like a photo, or I'll like FaceTime with my parents and like show them, and they really get a kick out of it. Like, hey man, it looks delicious, kind of stuff, because they're kind of foodies themselves.
Yeah. Anytime you're making something new, just be like, "This is new."
Yeah, check this out,
Yeah.
and yeah, they get a kick out of that. Okay, there's other things that I could have talked about, Easter, whatever. But the one thing I want to talk about, I was a disgruntled customer today at Gordo.
Let's fucking go. Yeah. What was their deal?
At the restaurant, my brother-in-law took the phone order, and then the lady came to pick it up, and she was like, she said her number, I put it in front of her, and I gave her the thing, and she goes, is there ranch in the bag? Like a little side, and I go, no, we don't have any ranch, and we haven't had ranch in a while, because of COVID, and just kind of like the spiel, like we just don't do it. We used to make ranch for our salads, and sometimes people would put on their tostadas, but it got to the point where people would just ask for it all the time. So she wanted ranch for her shrimp burrito, and I was like, that's kind of fucking gross in my opinion. But I was just like, look, I don't have it. And the lady's just like,
oh my god,
she got like,
that got me.
She got hella mad at me. Like she got like aggressive. She's an older lady, by the way. She goes, that's not true. She goes like, I've absolutely have had ranch since COVID happened. He was like, I had it 2 weeks ago. And I was like, well, I'm telling you right now, we don't have it. She's like, well, could you go check? You just go look. I'm like, I'm not going to go look, because I know there's no fucking ranch there. Like, we don't have any ranch. And she's like, well, fine. Okay. I'm like, okay, cool. And she's like, and I'm just like, I'm trying to keep calm. Like I don't want to say something fucking mean to her. Just let her get her burrito and let her go. And she's like, she does like the, you have a nice day. And I go, you too, or whatever. She leaves and I go, fuck. And I was just like, oh, I'm so fucking mad. Like, why does this bitch just put me out of my fucking zone over ranch, over fucking ranch? And, my brother-in-law was just like, we actually haven't had ranch in a while, because one of the ingredients to make the ranch that we make, we just can't get a hold of because of COVID. It's like, it's not out there. It's like, so they tried making it without that ingredient, and it just doesn't taste good. It's just like, it's not right,
Yeah,
yeah. And he goes, there's probably some ranch back there from that last batch that we made. He's like, but it's missing that ingredient, so it's not gonna be right. Like, you give it to her, and he'll be like, oh, it's bad ranch. Like, yeah, that's what we didn't give it to you. I think, where did I go? I had what's it called? Rice bowl, and I asked for not the fire oil, but the chili paste stuff. And the lady came back with fire oil. I was like, no, can I get the chili paste stuff? And she goes, look, we changed our brand. Like, we used to go with this person, now we go with this person because they're cheaper. She goes like, and it tastes horrible. She goes, it will ruin your food. It tastes like fish oil. And when people have been asking me for it, I have not been bringing it to them because I don't want it to ruin their food. And I go, cool. So kind of like that. It's like, why would I give you bad ranch? Like, and you know what? It's like, you know what? I'm going to go back and check if there's ranch. Guess what, Trip? There was ranch. And you know what I said? Fuck it. I grabbed all the ranch and I threw it all the way. I was like, this bitch doesn't get ranch no matter what. So the next time she comes in, I'm just going to tell her we stop making ranch. I'm just going to be like, yeah. Well, and this is the second time this week I ran into her. And the first, I think on Monday, I gave her the same thing, like, we don't have ranch. And so she was upset. And now today's Wednesday, and it's like, I don't have ranch. And and this time she like snaps, like, cool, if you're going to fucking bite someone's head off for ranch, I'm going to for sure make sure you don't ever get it when you come in. We're a fucking Mexican restaurant. Why the fuck do you even have ranch? It blows my mind.
I don't know. It just reminds me of Starbucks, where even on our end, it was ridiculous. But we would just be like, we're out of ice. We can't do ice drinks. And I'm like, but it's the middle of the summer. And it's like, yeah, that's why we're out of ice. Because our machine can't keep up with how much ice people want. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And it's honest, right? You're like, it's like, yeah. And not, you're not being lied to like at McDonald's when they go, oh, the ice cream machine is broken. It's like, no, it's not. You cleaned it.
Well, yeah, it's just out of order right now.
Yeah, whatever. So it's like, sometimes when I go, look, I shouldn't have to explain myself. Like, if I can't give you ranch, I can't give it to you, lady. Okay? Go buy some fucking Hidden Valley, put a straw in it, and drink it with your fucking burrito. But you're not getting ranch here, bitch. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. That is the fucking platform that Juan is running on right now. No ranch for anybody.
Well, if you hate ranch, support this podcast.
Yeah, you don't put ranch in instant ramen, so you wouldn't. Well, you could. No.
Get one of those Hidden Valley packs of ranch. You don't get like an actual ranch, but you get like a pack of it. You just sprinkle on the seasoning.
That'd be so fucking gross. Okay, man, that's it. How about you? I know you had something, some wild on-calls thing you want to tell me about.
We'll talk about wild on-call. Okay, so I've been called out a lot this week. It's been a long time since I've been called out a lot, but I've been called out a lot for nothing really major, except for yesterday when I thought it was going to be the most major thing that I've been called out for, because somebody called me and said that they've been working with this client that lives at this property for a long time. They had an appointment at 11 this morning, and he hasn't been returning her calls. She's come by his apartment twice and knocked on his door, and she hasn't heard him inside. Nobody has come to answer the door. She's very concerned about him, and he is very old. Mm-hmm. And then I asked what the apartment number was. And it just so happens to be the guy who causes probably the most problems for us. And I'm sitting there like, I hope this guy is fine. I hope he's just being an asshole, because I know how much of a dick he is, and he's not returning her call or something. I don't know. So I'm sitting there like, okay, well, yeah, so I can go ahead and help the police out when they come by here and they knock on the door if they need in. Just give them my number and I'll come by and I'll help them out. And then I didn't hear anything back at all. But I was sitting there for like the next hour, like, when are they going to call me? And then after 2.5 hours, I was like, what kind of motherfucker is just like, this guy might be dead. Anyways, open the door for the police in case, you know, anything's wrong. And then I don't hear any follow-up. So that was a very concerning phone call. And I didn't hear any follow-up this morning either. Nothing at all. I assume he's just a dick and didn't return the calls or something like that. Or maybe something did happen and he was unable to make the appointment and didn't call her. But the way she was talking about it was, they sounded like they have been talking and meeting up a lot recently for some very major problems in his life. It seems like he should have given her a heads up.
Yeah.
So just one last little problem from this guy before I leave.
But hey, man, it's your official last day on call, so fucking hip hip hooray!
It's my last one, and I'm fucking stoked. It's huge for me, man.
I don't know. I think we've talked about this in the past. Do you have like a thing that you're responsible to, like, you have to do if someone does like die on your property, like, besides like calling the cops? Like, is there anything else that's like on you?
Not immediately.
Okay.
I mean, they have paid their rent.
Their body's allowed to chill there till next month.
Nobody else can have it.
Okay.
And then their family gets involved and starts moving their stuff and doing all that. And that's a little bit more sensitive because we need to verify certain emergency numbers and whatnot, and just make sure that we're all legally good and that these are the right people that are coming and taking care of things.
Right.
We have had a couple of deaths on the property since I've worked here, but we haven't had any since I've been a manager. And they've just happened. One of them was in the apartment and the family took care of it all. And he had lots of medical issues. It was sad. He's a sweet guy. And then the other one was a woman who moved here when she had cancer, and a few months later, she wasn't doing great. She was older, so she was expecting to either survive and live only a little bit longer, or it
pass away.
Yeah. It was a very weird thing where they were making us aware of it before we knew anything, like, at all. So they were very prepared. That was all handled differently, and they passed away in the hospital, which changes certain things for us. You have to tell people that there's been a death in an apartment for a certain number of years So certain things are very important legally, and then there's the human side of things, which becomes very sensitive and very difficult.
Right.
So for, if this person, wherever he is, because never fucking heard back from him, if this person did pass away in the apartment, we do need to know about it, but nobody said anything. And yeah, I don't know. It's a very weird thing to be like involved in a very legal sense, but not too hands-on with the family or anything. Because honestly, everything that they have to do is up to them, and they're just kind of coming in here and being like, how long can we have the apartment? We're like, however long you fucking want, I guess.
Yeah.
Because death is hard, and we don't want you to work any harder than you have to. Yeah, it's all a very sensitive, bizarre situation that I'll never have to deal with again in a week. It's so close, man. Dope, I'm almost out of here. Anyways, yeah, that was the on-call situation. Other than that, let's be honest, I haven't been doing a whole lot. The new season of anime is coming out, so I've watched some new stuff. I wrapped up all the currently airing anime. Watching a little bit of Close Enough, which is that HBO show by the regular show guy. It's fun, it's fine. And just kind of chilling and vibing and having a good time with Monster Hunter still. I honestly haven't been doing anything else. It's just been hanging out, watching some YouTube stuff, taking it easy, and then getting super anxious before bed because it's my last week on call and please don't fucking call me out. And then I get called out anyways. And I have not been sleeping well. I'm hoping to sleep well tonight. It's going to be very dope. Yeah.
Oh, I agree. Sleeping tonight will be dope.
Yeah, I guess I just haven't been up to anything. There's stuff that I'm interested in that I want to check out more of. Like, I saw somebody playing a game called Rhythm Doctor, and it looked really interesting. It's a rhythm game where in this particular level, in this song or whatever, it's very musical, so it has characters like singing about what they're doing and stuff. But the window was full screen, and then it popped into a little box window, and it started moving all over the monitor. So the chick I was watching play it, like, had a dual screen setup, and it would disappear onto the other screen, and like you couldn't see what was happening. It would be halfway in between both screens, and it just looked really interesting and unique. So that's a game I would like to check out soon. And then there's a new Pac-Man game that just came out called Pac-Man 99. It's on Nintendo Switch, and it's essentially Tetris 99, but with Pac-Man.
Pac-Man, nice, cool.
Mm-hmm. So I'm pretty interested in that. I do want to check out what that's all about. And then I guess I haven't really been interested in much else, but I've been inspired in watching Steven Universe, so I'm going to start watching that shit again.
I don't know, did we talk about this? Did you watch Kong versus Godzilla?
Not yet, no.
Okay.
Been waiting for my boys, my Monster Hunter boys, to all be around since.
What about last? Okay, didn't you get your first shot, or was that last pod?
Yeah, I got my first shot. What's worthy about that, man? I got one. My arm hurt. I felt fine.
Yeah, for sure, dude. Fucking wait for number 2. It's
number 2's the one that I was gonna report. That's not for a few weeks, so we're fine.
Cool, man.
But
well, if that's it, do you have news? Because we're not going to be talking about anime, obviously.
I got news.
Fucking give it to me then.
No. Okay, yeah, sure. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 6, Stone Ocean, has finally been announced. We've been waiting for that for like 20 years, I think, since the last series aired. No, it's been almost 2 years since the last show ended.
This is the one.
People are fucking hype.
This is the one that we're going to for sure not miss. Like, we're going to be on top of this one for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
No, probably not. It's just not for us, really.
I mean, I've watched a little bit of JoJo's. I do plan on watching more. I might have a lot more time because I'm going to be pretty much focusing. I haven't talked about it on the podcast, but I'm going to be focusing more on different possibilities of what I could do with the podcast. Kind of make it a little bit more. I don't know. Just improve upon it in different ways that are convenient and easy, but
we're thinking about like a choose your adventure podcast where like you tell us what to wear and what to say. It's going to be great, man.
Audience chooses everything. We just say what they want us to.
Yeah. No, just like
it's probably going to be my main focus. So if I do wind up having more time while I'm kind of just doing stuff, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is one of the shows. Two totally opposite sides of things is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, which I would love to watch, and March Comes In Like a Lion, which I would also love to watch.
I am so close to finishing that first season trip.
I know, me too, dude. So like,
it's such a good show
that I'm really committed to eventually getting my hands on and getting into it. So yeah.
Well, you know what we're gonna do one of these days? We're gonna finish that show, and then watch season 2 because there's another season.
Yep. All right. Wonder Egg Priorities final episode will air exclusively on Funimation, so that's the new piece of news. But just again to reiterate, on June 30th. So we still got a few more months, and we'll talk about our feelings on Wonder Egg in a little bit. But let's just say that this is gonna be a long fucking 3 months.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Hey, Crunchyroll's going to be streaming 8686.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is, but I'm excited, I guess.
There was a new trailer for it that came out. I don't know. People are hyping it up. So Crunchyroll, the last things that they hyped up, pretty okay. They're fine.
Oh, you mean X-Arm, the best show in the world?
Yeah, there was that, and then also So I'm a Spider, So What? And
what about the Aquas Equinox?
Oh yeah, Onyx Equinox. Yeah, there was that one. There's Gibiate.
Not a great track record right there recently.
86, baby.
I saw actually a TikTok where this guy was just like, people send him bad animes to watch, and he's like, I'm gonna see how far I can make it into it. And he's watching X-Arm, and he's just like, I don't get it. I don't think it's that bad. I'm like, you're a garbage person then. You just don't have fucking eyes then. He's become a meme because like that is probably the worst show ever.
Dude, I mean, that's kind of how Kyle got on the podcast. He's watched so much garbage at this point that every time he sees it, he's like, ugh. So anyways, it was pretty okay.
Yeah, he's like noseblind to it. Like it all smells like shit, but whatever. If everything
was awful, but I had fun.
Yeah, if everything smells like shit, does anything smell like shit? Kind of thing. Yeah.
True. My Hero Academia Season 5 has set the record for the most watched TV anime premiere of all time on MyAnimeList.
That's sick.
Yeah, who would have thought? That's
super popular show.
Watching people's. Yeah. I mean, I saw the first episode. Did you?
I have not, but I'm going to. I think the first 2 are out now, so.
Yeah, the second one's out. I haven't seen it yet, but the first one had some pretty solid recap and made you go, oh yeah, Endeavor did some pretty cool shit with Hawks. Yeah, dude, that was really cool.
Nice.
That's a big recap at the beginning.
I hate the first episode of every season, honestly. It's usually recap. It's like, God fucking damn it.
Honestly, they get really into the plot right away, though, where they're just like, all right, so you guys are going to kind of just do some classic My Hero stuff.
Yeah. I can't wait for everybody to start dying. Those would be super sick.
Yeah, lots of people died during the class events.
Almost everybody dies this season. Yeah, in the class, the class A, class B. No one makes it out alive, honestly.
Yeah, watching the intro, which is always fun. We were just sitting there, and I'm like, nice. This is gonna be fun. And Kyle's like, is that one character? And I was like, hell yeah, dude. It looks like the classes are going up against each other or something. So
wait, what was the one character?
The telekinetic dude.
The one with the
purple hair.
Yeah. The one that fought Deku. Yeah, that is that one character. Yeah, I like that guy a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, he's cool. I like him. I mean, he's very clearly like insanely strong, but
also
he's a good guy, so he can't be as strong as he could be because he's good. Anyways, fuck it. That's all the news that I got for you. Now we have 30 different anime. Actually, how many is it? 1, 2, 3,
10.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah, 10 episodes, 10 shows to talk about. I got around to half of them, which I think I'm very proud of myself because like cool.
I got around to half of them as well,
and the other half also.
Yeah, but like, don't worry about that. I'll talk about that when we get to it.
Yeah, we'll talk about that when we get to it. For the people who don't know, usually these episodes last pretty long. Not as long as our preview, but we're gonna try our best to kind of just knock these out.
some shows we've talked about a lot each week. Other ones we've talked like kind of, there's
because we don't want to spoil stuff.
We don't want to spoil. But this is very heavy spoilers on everything. So if you hear us before we say anything about it, we'll be like, this was this show. This is kind of how we felt about it. And now we're spoiling everything.
Now we're spoiling stuff because we've done a good job of trying not to spoil stuff for like, at least I think we've done a good job of not like talking heavily about like stuff on Attack on Titan or like, Promised Neverland on the pod. Maybe near the end of Promised Neverland, we really kind of just started like, fuck this show.
Honestly, if you haven't seen season 1 of Promised Neverland and we spoiled parts of that for you, that sucks. But season 2 is just so much different. It's really hard. And I think again and again on the podcast, we've been like, you got to watch it. You got to watch it. And so whoops,
so anyways.
Also don't ever watch it. Don't ever watch it. Now doing the opposite. Don't watch season 1 because you'll just be so sad about season 2. You could go and read the manga and you'll be very happy.
I'd say still watch season 1. I say watch season 1 and then just go read the manga. Like the season.
That's fair. If you can manage that, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was. I still really have super fond memories about season 1. Season 2 is just an absolute dumpster fire. So we're gonna spoil a bunch of shit. So get ready for that. All right,
and we're gonna heads up about Promised Neverland, which is gonna be down the line because we'll get to sequels at the end of everything. Mm-hmm. But heads up for Promised Neverland, we will also be comparing it with the manga because there's significant changes. So there are some pretty big plot points for the manga that we will be talking about very openly later on.
Yeah, for sure. So just be aware of that. If that doesn't sound good to you, maybe just skip this episode and, come back next week when we talk about Way of the House Husband on Netflix, which is probably going to suck dick, but I'm excited. So,
dude, way to remember what we're talking about and plug it before people stop listening. So anyways, this is the Winter Anime 2021 wrap up.
Yeah.
We'll start out with Skate the Infinity, made by the studio Bones. You might know them from such things as My Hero Academia, Eureka 7, and Bungo Stray Dogs. All fantastic shows that I love and you enjoy some.
I would say, yes, I do enjoy My Hero, and I love Eureka 7. So that's accurate. Yeah.
Dude, sure. I appreciate you just saying that you love it. Just like trusting me, even though you've never seen it. Like,
I've seen at least 9 episodes of it. I just haven't seen all 50. Which is so
totally
much.
Fair. It's a lot. It's a lot.
I think I'm just gonna watch One Piece instead. Honestly,
you probably should. I mean, once you get up to 50, you might as well watch another 750.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
get the ball rolling. Yeah.
Skate the Infinity. This is a weird combination of kind of like shonen and also hot boys show. Hot boys doing hot things.
Hot boy summer, hot boy show. Okay, that's just the rules.
It's interesting. It's almost gay, but it's not gay. And I would have been pretty happy if it did get gay. Mm-hmm. But I kind of like being on the cusp at all times.
Always keep them guessing.
Yeah, you're like, are they really into each other? Or is this like just a bromance? Can't figure it out. But you've got our main character. Our main character loves skateboarding. He's a skateboard champion. Mostly he just makes skateboard stuff and like puts together skateboards at a shop. And he's a talented little guy. But then Snowboard Kid comes into town from Canada, and his mind's about to be blown when he finds out about skateboarding. And that's essentially the plot of the show.
Can I just say 2 things? First of all, Canadian, half Japanese, instantly makes the hottest human being in the world. Like, this dude is fucking gorgeous.
Langa.
I was like,
he's looking good.
He's made me question so many things about myself. Second of all, have you not like walked a street and like seen a skateboard? Like I've never been to Canada, but I'm assuming it's not just frozen all the time.
It is. It's just powder. It's beautiful powder everywhere, and everyone has their feet attached to boards.
And there's just sled dogs everywhere. Actually, I didn't watch all of Skate the Infinity. I watched some of it, and I did enjoy it. It was
fun.
I think that's what it was. I knew that you were telling me, hey, it's just a fun thing. It's not really like plot heavy or character heavy. It's just like, it's just cool
This was my least favorite show that I enjoyed this season.
Okay, good.
Still a really good time, but it's also like hey, I'm gonna check out and just like watch some boys do some cool skateboard tricks. So yeah, if you're into that, go and check it out. And now we get into the spoilers. So really the show isn't about any of that shit that I just talked about. It's about doing hardcore downhill skateboard races. Yeah. And it turns out that in these hardcore races, you can do fucking anything as long as you're making it down to the bottom of the hill as fast as possible. You are doing skateboarding right. So Snowboard Boy, he's all about going down hills. You know him from the slopes. And he's just not good with skateboards. So our good boy, Reiki, the hot redhead, he hooks up our Snowboard Boy with some like little contraptions on his board to hold his feet in place. And he then changes the axles to be the most dangerous skateboard of all time. And now the axles are able to like pivot and turn and make full 360 rotations. So instead of being limited by like the gear that he has, he can now use it more similarly to a snowboard. So he gets really good. Hot Boy gets really, really solid about stuff. And then after meeting a bunch of other characters that are also good at skateboarding, some play some dirty tricks while going down hills. Like they'll try to push the other people like off the skateboards or like lead them down shittier paths or whatever it is. It's just some bullshit anime stuff with some very bullshit anime character design, which I love. Like it's the cream of the crop bullshit anime that I love. So yeah, you get a whole crew together and then they all really enjoy skateboarding. You learn a little bit about their backstories. Guess what? The characters aren't exactly what they seem like on the surface. Who would have thought? Except for one psychopath who dresses up like a fucking...
Kiss character.
Yeah, like a kid. Well, there's the Kiss character guy, but there's a conquistador motherfucker, or he's more of a matador. Yeah, he's a matador, and he's also a vampire. So, you know, you got a good combo. He eventually, like, winds up skating against people, and they're like, oh, man, it's Adam. Adam's doing shit again. And Adam comes at you with, I'm going to go really fast, skate in front of you, lift the front of my board up, turn around, and then skate back the other direction and hug you. And then we're both going to be skateboarding, and I'm going to throw you to the ground, and it's going to be a big old thing where you die. So that's his method. Characters get very fucked up from it. And eventually that escalates into, I'm just going to fucking get in front of you, hop off my skateboard, and then smash you in the face when you're going at full speed with the skateboard. So it just turned into straight up like murder attempts versus some weird like kind of sportsy type of shit. It's just like, nah, I'm just going to hit this motherfucker in the face. And during all of this, Reki is like, Langa, don't do it. It's too dangerous. It's so dangerous. Don't do it. And he's also like, I feel so bad because nobody even knows who I am. And I'm so much worse than everybody else at skateboarding. And then he unlocks the secret power in his heart, which is passion. So he like falls in love with Langa again. And he's like, guess what? We just had a little like bro down. And now we're both better at skateboarding. I'm going to skateboard the hell out of this. And he did. And it was good. He got pretty fucking beat, but he also did some good stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
The only thing I wanted to say, because again, I didn't watch this. I was watching a TikTok, and there's this guy who he's a chef, and he likes to cook things inspired by anime. And he'd been doing it for a while, and I think recently he got sponsored by Funimation. And
shit. That's cool.
So he decided to make a dish from one of the characters, specifically the character that dresses up like the Kiss guy, you know? And he's just like, yeah, I'm going to make, you know, a dish inspired by him. And he's like, he had edible flowers because I guess he's also like a florist or whatever, you know, like
sure is.
Chef. And he's making all this stuff. And the thing that really irked me was the beginning of the video. He goes like, yeah, you know, for my first dish, I'm going to make it something from, you know, this show on Funimation called SK8 the Infinity, you know? And I was like, ooh, I don't like that. Why don't you just pronounce it skate, you know, kind of like how it's written. And so then in the comments, he just got blasted. It was just like, yo, dude, it's pronounced skate, you know, kind of like, you know, you read, you know, and then I don't know if he went through all of them, but a bunch of them he would reply. He goes, he went back and replied, I actually talked to one of the producers of the show, and he told me how to pronounce it, and it's pronounced SK8 the Infinity. So, and I was like, oh, cool. All right. Whatever,
Did the producer know how to pronounce it?
Yeah, are you fucking idiot? Anyways,
just like, hey man, I agree with you, but the producer said this. That's all he needed to say, and be like,
Okay.
We were wrong, I guess. I mean,
Whatever.
what else do you say? So,
SK8 sounds stupid. Skate sounds better.
Skate the Infinity is what it will be called forever, but it is spelled SK8, so anyone that's confused, there you go.
There it is, yeah.
Anyways, the show concludes with our characters being inspired by being skateboard boys, and then the snowboarder goes on the old, more dangerous street racing track that they have that goes through like caves and shit. Nice. It was some like very anime end of the episode or end of the season kind of thing. Lots of pretty solid music that's going big when it needs to. It was a really fun time. Again, I don't know if I would recommend it to many people.
Bummer, yeah.
But it's a good hot boys doing hot things skateboarding show. I just didn't really wind up caring about it. It was so over the top in anime that anything could have happened. So it was a little bit hard to be invested in the characters. And the characters, like, story arcs weren't that intriguing either. But man, the style was rad. I used to be all about skateboarding when I was a kid. I was never good at it. I hardly did it. But I watched so many skating videos because I was like, they're doing that good shit. That's what I love right here.
Mm-hmm.
Throw a Bucky Lassick video and everyone's losing their minds. You know how it goes.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, that's Skate the Infinity.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, is this a show I actually got to watch? And I'm really
what
psyched.
Is it?
It's called Horimiya, done by CloverWorks. They've done stuff like... it's right here. Bunny does not dream of Bunnygirl Senpai.
Uh-huh.
They also did, 2 other shows that came out this season that we'll get into.
Yeah, and that's why we only wanted to mention that one for now. We've definitely watched a lot of anime.
And we, in this CloverWorks is a studio that is fairly new and so far, for the most part, has just kind of been killing it when it's with whatever they do visually, story wise, with an exception that we'll get into. But I'm surprised to see Horimiya for them to do something like this, but I really like the show. It's about a couple of high school students who kind of start dating, and they're very different from each other, and they just kind of make it work, and not like it's difficult for them to be together. It's more like they're just kind of learning about each other, and there's a cast of like a bunch of other friends who also have their circumstances and issues, and everything's really lighthearted and stuff. I feel like there were some serious
yeah, I think that they handled a lot of the like romance situations more honestly than I expected. Mm-hmm. Just like a very genuine feeling of that.
Yeah.
But we did really like this show, by the way. It's not my favorite romance slice of life kind of thing, but for the first half of it, I was super into it. And the second half, I was into it, but like it
not
kept being like down until the finale, which went way back up.
Yeah, and and I would say like this, this being a slice of life show, it's not really like plot. That's not what we're here for. We're here for just the characters developing and getting to know each other and meeting people. And the honesty part was something I really liked, because there was things that like even like I myself had experienced in relationships. like the way they talked or the way they felt about things where, you don't say stuff and then they do say stuff. One of my favorite moments,
very high school romance kind of thing. Yeah.
I think one of my favorites was like just another, like a pair of Otherside characters, and one character just kind of really openly says like, oh, I like you, and I was like, oh, fucking dope. Because there's so many fucking animes where like people don't say that and they're like, oh, I'm just going to, keep my
skirting around it forever.
I'm going to keep, I'm just not going to say it. I was like, no, fuck that. They're out there, they're open, they're happy, and they're together. And it's really cool. There were some things in the show where it's like, that's a little much. I'm okay with it though, I guess. And I guess
what would that be?
For some reason, I think it was like episode 6 or 7. Hori, which is a girl, right? Kind of got into the idea that she really wanted her boyfriend, who is for the most part, very quiet, reserved dude, to kind of treat her abruptly because he's really harsh and brutal with like his former classmates and stuff. Like he'll like put him in headlocks and cuss him out. He even like beat the shit out of one of his friends. He's like, yeah, I just kind of want you to like, I don't know, rough me up essentially, to be a man.
Treat me like shit.
Yeah, and he's just like, and like we see him, and it's funny to see him kind of deal with the dilemma of him being like, oh, that's kind of feels like out of character to do that to you because I like you. But he's just like, okay, I'll try it because I do like you. And he does it. And like, he's having a miserable time of like degrading her and calling her a bitch and stupid and stuff. And she's just loving it.
Yeah, she's just like grinning. Like,
he's like, yeah, like more of this.
It's great. Very animalistic.
There's one episode where it was an episode where he did it. And then the next episode, there was the plot for that one was like running into former classmates that like had a big secret about like the whole bunnies dying or whatever, which I was like, huh, that was fucking heavy. Mm-hmm. In that episode, she comes out of the supermarket, walks up to him, and like they're like these other characters are seeing it happen from far away, and he just slaps her across the face and is like he says like, what took you so long, you dumb bitch? And he goes like, oh, I'm so sorry, let's go, and starts like pulling her, and I go, Sierra lost her fucking mind. She could not stop laughing. And I was just like,
hella fun. Normally I don't like any kind of abuse shown, but this wasn't like, she is explicitly asked for this. Mm-hmm. So it's all consensual and all good, baby. So that's how you make a good slapstick comedy joke. There.
That it really shocked me. I was like, did he just fucking hit her in the face?
Bam. I loved that. I lost my shit, dude. I was just sitting there with Kyle like, holy fuck, this show just went to a different level that I didn't think it was going to go to, where like, you know, it felt like it was pretty like soft and romantic at the start, and like fun and slice of life. I had such a good time. And then it gets into jokes like that, and I'm sitting there like, dude, this is like a little bit more intense than I thought we were going to go. I thought this was just like a cute little romance, but okay. And it honestly was just a cute little romance with that specifically thrown in. Yeah, and her dad, who is maybe the best dad in all of anime.
Her dad, who is, when we say best dad, she's just a horrible father. He's like,
he's so fucking fun. Every scene he's in, I'm like, all right, this is where we're good.
I did really like that last episode when her dad shows up to their graduation to take pictures with him, and people are like, oh wow, is that his dad? Oh, he's so young, and she just starts beating the shit. He's like, get the fuck out of here. I was like, this is good. It is a really good show. It is very, I don't know.
It's based off of a 4-coma manga, so it also doesn't really like get into anything too heavy or too like intensely. Later on, it becomes a lot more disconnected, where you're jumping from plot line to plot line,
or character to relationship to relationship and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it's a little bit more like easy to watch, just here and there. You don't have to be as committed to it, but I feel like there's something else when you are more committed to that just like singular plot line. So you have to be invested in a lot of different plot lines and stories and relationships in order for you to get the most out of the show. You know?
Yeah. And yeah, for sure. I agree. I think I really liked how the last episode ended. They graduated. They essentially kind of agreed to kind of stay together and kind of see how things go. I think they even proposed marriage to each other. But, who knows how serious that is. I don't see no fucking ring on that finger. But it ends, on a really positive note. Like, essentially, he's like really happy that he's met Hori and that she has made him a different person and like help him grow and stuff. And he's like super excited to see where that shit kind of continues. And I really like that because it ends like right after the graduating high school, and it's like it's left kind of open. And I don't think there'll ever be a season 2. And I don't think there needs to be a season 2. It's
I
really
don't want a season 2 at all. I think the point that it ended at was a pretty definitive end. And if they brought it back after that, they would have to do like spoilers for the teasing master Takagi-san or whatever.
Yeah, you nailed it. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah. Shout outs to that show, but also spoilers, because eventually it gets into they're married. And they have a kid and stuff, and it's all about that. I think they would have to do that treatment with Horimiya in order for me to be interested in the second season or more of this show, because they wrapped up so much in that first season. Or if they did a non-Biori thing and they're like, so we're just going to show more of that year that you didn't see. Yeah, so.
I don't think they would do that.
I don't think so either.
I like how it ended. Also, intro song, so fucking good. Outro visuals, so fucking good.
And song. I love, CloverWorks killing it this season.
Yeah, for sure.
They start off with a bang with Horimiya. And hopefully they can keep up their stride through the end of this podcast.
So I think this is a show I would recommend to people. People who like slice of life, people who like comedy, people who like rom-coms.
Oh, this is a great romantic slice of life.
Yeah, for sure. Sounds good.
God, it looks so good. All right, next up, show that I watched, Otherside Picnic, made by Lidenfilms. They've done Yamada-kun and the Seven Witches, Akashic Record of Bastard Magic Instructor, and it was also made by Felix Film, who you might know from Nekopara. Right. Anyways, some pretty bizarre team up for this, which is why I wanted to take those and kind of show it off. It was a pretty bizarre show, too. It's a little slice of lifey. I like the specific point that I put it in the shows we're talking about. It's a little slice of lifey, but it's also a little like paranormal and strange. I would say that this is a good show if you're looking for something very calm, but kind of mysterious and like a little horror-y, but also like laid back and chill. Even though they keep saying the stakes are high, it never really feels like the stakes are high. It was fun. It was a good watch. Again, it's like a very specific kind of show for people. So this is a harder one to recommend than something like Horimiya. I would say, I guess if you like Girls' Last Tour, this kind of fits in with that a little bit. But anyways, we pick up at the very beginning with one girl goes to this other world that they just call the other side. And there's another girl that's there who's more familiar with it, and they kind of like use each other to grow and feel confident. Both are main characters. You have a blonde girl and you have the girl with glasses. That's how I will define them. And yeah, we're good. Very quickly in the first episode, they both get affected by the other side from this creature that they're trying to take out. They also have guns and stuff. Don't worry about it. Our blonde girl touched something from the other side that she shouldn't have, and her hand wound up becoming like a weird kind of like blue translucent hand. And then because they were being affected by this thing on the other side, our girl with the glasses wasn't wearing her glasses. Her eyes were like growing weird
worm
like,
thingies.
Yeah, like kind of like spore type things from some weird paranormal shit that was going on. And she was able to be fine, but one of her eyes now is a different color. It's actually blue now, and she's able to see the other side type stuff. There's a lot of stuff that's invisible in that world. So she becomes a huge asset to the blonde girl like right away, because the blonde girl's trying to find her best friend who's lost in the other side. And this girl is trying to just spend some time doing some shit and finds a lot of confidence in being a very helpful person and like growing throughout the show, while also trying to rein in the blonde girl from being too chaotic and all over the place, I guess. So it's a very slice of life type show where each episode you're going into the other side. There's some similar stuff that happens that kind of sets the plot for other parts of the show, and it doesn't explore anything serious. You don't get to see that friend that they're looking for. It's very over at the end of this season, in my opinion. It felt very over. And they have one other important character who's kind of like the operator of the situation. She like does a bunch of research and work at home, works out of her like big ass mansion type house, and does some computer work. But she's also a shut-in, so she doesn't want to fucking go to the other side and help them out with that. She's like, no, you tell me this stuff, I'll provide guns for you, and then you come back here and tell me some more things. So she's the other important character, and there's some others, but realistically, those three are the most involved with the other side. And it has some spooky things here and there. It's one of those shows that you kind of just have to watch and try. It was doing enough things that intrigued me that I wanted to keep watching it. But the fact that it was so slice of life made it a lot harder for me to be as invested in this, which was a similar problem that I had with Girls' Last Tour. to where I was pretty interested in what was going on. There wasn't much of a plot line to start. There didn't need to be one. But then it felt like it really meandered for certain times, which is great if that's what you're looking for. Fantastic episode of Girls Last Tour where they were just sitting around listening to rain drop on like cans and stuff. That was dope. Loved it. And then this show, it didn't have any of those like calm moments where it's just peaceful and enjoyable and sweet. There was always a little bit of chaos going on, but it was similar to like Monster of the Week, but it was more like freaky stuff of the week that we're just going to mostly like go and check out and then go and get beer. And then we're going to get wrapped into a situation. And then at the end of the episode, it does like a little after the credits. They're all drinking beer at the bar and chatting and having fun.
How old are these girls? I always thought from
old enough to party, baby.
I thought they were like in high school. I didn't know. Are they in college or something? That the age they're kind of in?
I don't know why you keep talking about school when that never came up in the show. It was so weird.
I saw them. No, I saw them in a cafeteria or something.
They've been in a lot of places, man. They helped out the United States military. I mean, like, right. Who knows how old they are?
My bad.
I don't know if the cafeteria was like a school cafeteria that they went to or if it was somebody else's. I don't know. I would say they're probably college age.
Yeah, but I guess it doesn't really matter because it's not a very, it doesn't seem like a very plot-heavy show. Yeah.
The reason it's called Otherside Picnic is because the idea of a picnic is just to like go and hang out and have fun in a place that you normally wouldn't have fun and hang out in. That's the idea, and they like to eat and drink and have fun with that. There was a beach episode. They saw some seaweed. It turned out that it looked like evil things. That's it. But like, it was another creature that was making them look like they were evil things. And
it makes sense.
It was a plot line thing. It wasn't just like a goofy time. That's that show. Honestly, you don't need to watch it. But I had a good time with it. It was one of the harder ones for me to watch because I kept wanting to be invested and was always a little disappointed versus Skate the Infinity that was really consistent of what it was, but it just wasn't what I'm normally looking for. Where Otherside Picnic had a lot of those things that were like hitting the right points for me. And then I was always a little disappointed.
Yeah, for sure.
Not a great review of it, but I still had a good time watching it. So it's a very specific kind of recommendation.
For sure.
And another show that might have become a very specific kind of recommendation, Wonder Egg Priority, made by CloverWorks. And the reason I say that is I think this might be one of my favorite shows of all time. It might wind up being my favorite show of all time. We'll wait for that final episode that comes out in a few months for me to say that.
Yeah, for sure.
But holy shit, it was so good. And it's also got a lot of very sensitive topics that make it hard for some people to maybe watch.
Absolutely. This is one of those, super dope diamonds in the rough, right? Like, we didn't know what it was, hadn't heard anything about it, happened to watch the first episode and like instantly kind of be like,
we're like
captivated.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
And then we find out, it's CloverWorks. Like, oh, well, that makes sense. They're good. Yeah. So
we're sitting there like, is this the best show of the season? I don't know. Maybe. Promised Neverland is still awaiting. So,
yeah. We go Attack on Titan's going on, right? What's up? So shit like that. But this show, like you said, it does have some heavy topics. The biggest, heavy topic it, touches upon is suicide, which, is touchy to talk about, especially with, you don't know if that'll like affect someone differently. There's a point where we were watching it and we're like, this is really great. Everybody should watch it. And then it hit an episode where like the suicide talk got really heavy. And we're like, no, this absolutely isn't for everybody because we don't know how this is going to affect them. We don't want them to.
It's a sensitive show.
Absolutely. And it's not just that. There's also like, I think
it gets into like sexual abuse and rape
and like, self-harm.
Yeah.
There's like, I think, was it not identifying with your gender, right? That's another thing that pops up.
Yeah, some difficult topics that might set some people into a bad
in a not good direction.
Yeah.
But all that being said,
God damn it, it's so fucking good.
Yeah, it's crazy how they're able to bring this topic and make it like so like they made it so like, I don't know, captivating, entertaining, intriguing. Like it was like every time something
part of it
horrible would happen, we go, fuck, dude. It's like, but it's so
I was
good.
100% invested, and then like I'm watching the show, I'm like, this is interesting. What's gonna happen? First episode ends, and I go, I'm in 100%. And you keep watching it and keep slightly adjusting, kind of like where you're at mentally with each episode. And then one hit me, and I was just like, dude, it fucked me up. Like it made me feel bad.
It KO'd you. So for like a quick like rundown on what it is without spoiling it, it follows these girls who kind of happen upon this weird kind of dispenser that drops eggs, and they find out that with these eggs, they'll have these dreams, and when they pop the eggs open, a girl will pop, like a teenage girl pops out, and then they get attacked by monsters in their dreams, and it's these girls' jobs to protect them, and they're kind of led to believe that if they're able to protect these girls, and if they're able to do it enough times successfully, the person that they lost, whoever they're the person that they cared about, who they lost to suicide, will come back. And that's kind of just like the mission at first. It's just like, oh shit, we got to get our friend back, or my sister back, or whatever, my fan back. And it isn't until later, literally like the tail end of the season, where we find out like what kind of really is going on underneath the scenes. And it's just like it really took a shift. I think it was episode 10 and 11 where you're just like, yo, bro, you're not fucking ready for this shit. And
yeah, like episode 9 hits you and you're like, Jesus, that was hard. And then episode 10 comes at you and you're like, why was that way, way darker than the last episode that was already so fucking dark?
Yeah.
And then, the last episode there, it's just, what an incredible show.
Yeah, no joke. I really liked, besides all the super cool animations and all the super cool fights.
The character designs and the character designs. And
I really liked just like the characters. They really like grown to like, cherish a lot of them. There was times
it starts out and you're like, all right, I'm in. Main character, all about her. Mm-hmm. I don't really like this new girl too much. And then I don't really like this new girl too much into, I kind of like this new girl.
Yeah, exactly.
There were 4 girls. Those were your initial reactions, and then by the end, you're like, I just love all my sweet little babies, and I wish that they were happy, and I just want everyone to be happy for once. And
I wish them no harm. I wish their pets no harm. I wish them that everybody be okay and everybody be best friends. And yeah, but things don't work out like that, sadly. But it's good. I think let's get into spoilers, because I think it was last week we brought up that super heavy episode, and you're like, we're not going to talk about it on the pod because we didn't want to spoil anything, but let's fucking do it. It was like one of the scariest episode trips I've ever seen.
All right. So going through the show, you've seen these characters save tons of girls, and they've worked really hard, and they've overcome their own personal issues into now things are working out. They're actually like doing good, and they're accepting who they are, and they're talking about their problems with each other, and they're just being very open about everything. And then one of our girls talks to this trans boy who had killed himself because he was raped and got pregnant, and it was like their school instructor. It was like a whole bunch of really shitty things, and you just feel bad about that. And so she helps him get through his problems before he reincarnates. And then when he disappears, a little fanfare plays, and her friend, who was turned into a statue, suddenly becomes a person again. And she's so excited to see our girl that we're familiar with. And they reunite for like a second until she disappears. And they can't actually talk to their friend that they've been trying to save, which sucks, but they've also grown as people, and it's something that they'll be able to get through. And then this fucking thing comes out of the sky. It's like flying with its head, like fluttering, essentially. Just like really fast, like beats of like wings.
A girl with a butterfly for a face, or like a moth
a butterfly
for a
head.
face.
It's very freaky, and you can't really tell what it is at first. And then when it lands, you figure it out. And she just straight up murders this girl's companion, which is this little animal that's been really helpful throughout their experience. And I think it was a snake, right?
It was a snake. Yeah.
Yeah, so her snake gets murdered in front of her, and it's like a big animal companion snake. And the snake is impressed upon her as if she was the snake's mother. Mm-hmm. So you've found that all the characters have formed these really strong connections. And this creature is murdered right in front of her. And then the butterfly girl that killed it is just like, oh yeah, here, eat this. And like shoves some of her snake's meat into her mouth.
Force feeds her, yeah.
Yeah, force feeds her the snake. And then it cuts, and you can see she's fucking sad, and she's like showering in the dark and stuff, and it's just like bad times. And then she's trying to eat dinner with her mom, and she takes a bite of chicken and like goes and throws up in the sink because it reminds her of the texture or whatever of
snake,
her friend, which is fucked up. So that all happens, and we're like, God damn, that was dark. And then it doesn't really waste any time getting into the next episode where another animal is killed. She didn't eat it that we saw, but she might have eaten it.
Beat the shit out of the tortoise or turtle, like crushed its shell, just completely obliterated it.
Yeah, it was fucked up and sad. And then our main character like wants to go and research like what's going on, and she's sneaking around, and then she gets to learn the entire history of the show, essentially,
like the Wonder Egg kind of project, like what's really going on behind the scenes. And it was like a flashback, right, with a bunch of like just information and seeing like characters and stuff, and it was scary. I was, that popping noise that chick makes with her mouth, really just unsettling. It's kind of reminded me of like Hereditary, where
100%. Yeah, I was with you there, where it was giving me chills like already.
And I think when I was done with the episode, I was kind of like laying like on the couch, and I made the noise with my mouth, and I was just like,
and then like chills.
I scared myself. I was like, why the fuck would I do that? But we find out that the two like mannequins who we in earlier episodes found out were actual humans who downloaded their consciousness to these mannequins. These were scientists who decided to create an AI and like a human, a girl, and they did.
Yeah, they created their own daughter.
Yeah, and
wound up confirmed that they were in a relationship together.
Yeah,
but
they tried to do their best to make her as real as possible, and like. And she was super smart, and they were really proud of her and everything, and it was great. And then one of the mannequins meets a girl, falls in love, and they're all like a little happy family or whatever. And then his new wife gets pregnant, and this kind of makes the daughter that he created very jealous.
And she was already jealous that she was losing her dad to somebody too.
To her then girlfriend, then became later wife, right?
Yeah. Which at this point, I guess the two dads had split up. They were interested in the same girl, even though they were together.
One beat out the other one.
Just a very complicated relationship there. So I liked that. I liked that they kept it with the like, hey, people have some very complicated things with relationships and just their life and their happiness. Things are messy.
Not black and white. Yeah, exactly. The girl that they created ends up like murdering the mother mom while she's pregnant. Luckily they're able to save the baby. They lock her up in like a basement.
And this was fucked up immediately. I was like, that's so like I feel really bad. I felt bad that the mom died. I felt bad that this AI girl, it wasn't her fault. She was programmed to feel those jealousy things. It's like the dad's fault for programming her so well to like act that way, I guess.
The thing I felt like I was really mad about the situation. I was like, God, she killed that. I just like about the murder, right? Yeah. And I was like, that sucks. I didn't agree with him throwing her like in a pit and locking it and essentially being like, cool, you're just a busted old part, stay here now. I would have been like, I understand you maybe turning her off, because in my eyes I was like,
yeah, I was
AI,
like,
technically not human.
that was fucked up. Turn
the computer off, right? But instead he just like threw her and then locked her in the basement, and then he
suffer and just sit there forever.
Yeah, and then he proceeded to then raise the baby that survived.
Well, hang on. To make it very clear, this is the father of the baby that locked her away, because both dads get very involved.
Yeah, for sure. So then he, then they raise the child together, and she becomes a teenager. She's in middle school or something, and she's become very close.
She's the same age, I think. She's like 14 or something like that.
She's become very close with her biological father's former lover.
She says
lab
uncle.
Partner. Yeah, she calls him her uncle, and they become very close. They essentially she was raised by the both of them, and there's a moment where she's like, you know what, like, if you wait long enough, I'll marry you when I become an adult. So like you can tell, like, oh, there's some maybe some romantic feelings there, kind of like a gray area.
Was like, ooh, no, this should not be the thing. He immediately shuts that down.
And then
but also realizes that she's like very connected to him. So he still cherishes her, but doesn't want to pursue that bizarre romance.
And then she does the weird pop noise that, our AI girl was doing, and that like really shocked him.
Yeah, it completely set him off and took him straight back to his AI daughter.
And then in the very next scene, we see that she then commits suicide, and it's like, it didn't make any sense to them. Why did this happen?
She slit her wrists in the bathtub, and her mother also died in the bathtub.
Yeah,
because the robot girl threw a hairdryer in there.
Yeah, and so then now we'll call him the uncle. We'll call him that way it's easier. He then confronts the AI. He lets her out after she's been in this in the basement in a pit. And we see that there's a bunch of wires that go into the pit, and she's been connected to them like computers. So she's been doing stuff on the down low, and she's like, "Hey, I'm here. I'll always be here." And she's like, he knows that she hasn't involved with like what happened, and then he destroys her, right? Like he lights her on fire or something, or like he gets rid of her. I'm not very sure. Like they're walking through the hills or something, and it's really clear that he does something to get rid of her. And then the two scientists decide to now study like suicide, and specifically what's going on with these teen girls and stuff, and it's led them to having to put their brains in these mannequins, and it's just become a huge giant mess. And they know,
man, I just felt like shit watching that
the AI daughter and the friends that she made, these weird butterfly face, moth face people, are out there doing something, and they knew the whole time that these other 4 girls at one point we're gonna have to confront the situation, and it all seems really fucked. And that was only, I think, episode 11, which was terrifying, because in episode 12 is backstory on our main character goes into the dream and pops an egg, and it's herself, and we see.
Yeah. So I felt like garbage. I was like, wow, I feel bad for this AI for how abused she was, and now like she's getting the fucking shit kicked out of her by her uncle. And I was like, yeah, I'm with him at this point. I am with him at this point. She is still vengeful, even though it's been this long. She kills this girl. Like, she doesn't have any idea of what the impact of taking a life is. She doesn't understand this. And I understand his frustration and anger, because now he's had 14 years. So even though the mother died and it was very sad, it was realistically only a couple of years of knowing each other. And then at this point, it was 14 years of raising
someone,
essentially your own daughter. And I just felt like garbage. The episode ended, and I just sat there and I'm like, wow, this is the worst feeling. And the way they end it with the fucking
the pop. It was so gross. I mean, they should have turned her off. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking.
I don't know, but it was amazing. And then the next episode where our main character has to help herself through her suicide. Like she had killed herself in another universe.
And we see like the parallels, and it's like her telling her former self, like, hey, it got better for me and stuff like that. Telling her about her friend, the friend that she herself is trying to save in this world. So yeah, it was I don't know, it was I was scared because I know that she's close to the end, right? And like she's gonna get the trumpets, and her pet's probably gonna, you know, hit the bucket, and
yeah, and she knows it too. So the stakes were high for everyone. It was, as a viewer, you're so invested and you just want the best, and you want these girls to be happy so badly. Mm-hmm. There's been so much sadness and suffering, and also a lot of light and bright moments that you want to see those moments. It makes them feel so much better.
Right.
And during the whole last episode, like, if you've ever dealt with depression and like those kinds of situations, suicidal thoughts, and like, or friends that have, you know, tried to commit suicide or thought about it or talked to you about it, this is going to make a bigger impression on you. It was very authentic. It was very genuine, and I had a hard time watching it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And for that reason, they're saying this show, even though it is gorgeous and looks great and sounds great,
every part of it is fucking incredible.
It's absolutely not for everybody. This isn't a show I would recommend to everybody. Just kind of like a must watch. Like, you know, I watch, you know, I'm like, Erase, go check it out. You know, even though there's like a, you know, murder in that or whatever, time travel, whatever. But like this one's like, no, this one's heavy, and it's not for everybody. Not everybody can handle it.
It's not over either, so we don't know what the end is. So it's also hard to recommend to people that way. You know, but everything that I have seen has made me fall in love with the show, and I just can't wait to see more.
You know what's funny, Trip, is that watching this show, you know, I didn't know that we were gonna have a special until, you know, after or whatever. I was like, okay, cool, an actual ending later. I was kind of concerned that, and almost like positive, like this show could absolutely end with like on a bad note. Like this show doesn't have to have a happy ending, right?
If it ended on a bad note, I think I would respect the fuck out of it. But man, I don't
want it to.
I don't want it to.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like,
I don't often feel that way. I'm like, yeah, man, art's art. You do what you got to do. And I'm like, you guys made me really sad consistently. Doesn't have to end badly. It doesn't need to be another The Road. I've seen that. You know, it's sad the whole time.
Yeah, so I'm on that board where I'm hoping for the best for, you know, all these characters, but I am really scared because I don't know how it's going to end. So good shit though, dude. So good. Probably the best anime of the season.
That's why we talked about it for so long.
Yeah, for sure. Next
up, Mushoku Tensei, Jobless, Reincarnation, made by the studio Egg Firm, who were created to exclusively make this show. That's kind of what they were all about. And I get why. I understand why. Lots of very talented people working on it. This isn't a show for everyone.
Nope.
But it's not a show for everyone in very different ways. If you're just tired of fucking isekai, this show does some of the best isekai stuff, so you might be okay with that. But then again, if you're just fucking done, you're done. And then there's the opposite side of it where half of the show, incredibly sexual. The other half, incredibly good isekai, like just top notch. And the sexual parts of the show, normally that will put me off of a show if it's like a very big part of it, but it just feels cheap and like they do it over and over again, and it's not doing anything clever. It's just like boobs, 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 because that's normally what it is. But this show instead writes it into a much more of a like, yeah, sex is a part of this world. It's a part of human nature, and that's just something that things are going to do. It was never any like, oh yeah, look at that girl's tits, and that's the entire part of it. It's a much more involved, we have a really shitty character that's who they used to be in their past life. Right. They're kind of becoming a better person, and it's got some complicated story elements to it.
The way I thought about it was like, yeah, it's essentially like a character flaw. Like our main character, you know, like in most isekais, you know, they come from our world to a fantasy world, and in the world that he came from, he was, you know, essentially a jobless dude that, you know, just kind of a virgin who liked porn and liked women, but, you know, was kind of a you know, a sleazebag and a scum dude, you know, but coming here, he's got a second chance to make things different. And he still kind of fights those tendencies. I know that you had told me when you were watching it, like, hey, the only reason you were sticking around is that you had heard that this guy eventually doesn't, becomes a better person, and those weird thoughts or those sexual thoughts that seem to happen fairly often when he's young don't happen as much, and you're like, cool. And as the show progresses, it actually does taper off. And it's like reasonable. But even like in episode, I don't know, like I'm gonna say like 8, they go to the market and someone tried to sell him an aphrodisiac, and he's like, oh my god, yeah. And I was like, oh cool, he's still there. Like he's still that dude that is into the whole sexy stuff, women, butts, boobs, all that stuff. But he is getting better. So I don't know. I thought that part of the anime was going to be a lot worse just because of the way we were talking about it. But once I watched, I was like, you know what? That is bad. Not as bad as I thought it would be. It could be. Yeah.
The reason that it's not as bad as you think is because you actually like the characters. They make them enjoyable, and you want to see their struggles and their journey. And this is a part of that. So you're definitely like, all right, we're doing the sex part now, but it's for some kind of a reason.
Yeah, but wait just a second. Yeah, here it's like it's about to get good. Just get through the sex bit, and you go, okay.
And realistically, there was only one kind of problematic thing, and I say kind of because it's a full-grown man trapped inside of a child's body, and everything else has been very like over the top, aware. Nothing's like scummy about it. It's very like forward. When it comes to these sexual situations. But instead, one situation, this little girl is passed out in some hay, and he tries to take advantage of her. And then it's glossed over, and we're gone. So it was like, what the fuck?
There are other things, like there's the bit where you were telling me about his dad getting the housemaid pregnant, and then she confesses that, in the past, when they were in sword school together or whatever, his dad had snuck into his place and deflowered her. I was just like, oh shit, that sounds like sexual assault or whatever. And then there's also a bit where our main character, walks in on the owner of some giant mansion that he's staying at, and he's just got done fucking some, furry maid or whatever, and she's like runs away. And that was really, when that happened, Trip, I did expect our main character to be like, oh shit, to kind of acknowledge the situation, but it totally glossed over. And instead he said something like, oh, cool. It looks like when this guy's done having sex, he's more reasonable. And then they look off into the distance at this weird thing that's in the sky, and it's like, oh, that's it. That's all they're going to say about it. And you and I had talked about it. Not that those things are, inexcusable, right? Like, oh, we can say, oh, that's okay. But in the context of this, in the context of this world, sex is viewed a lot differently, right? The way people, grow up, like birthdays aren't celebrated every year. That's like every 5 years. There's like, what's it called? Like you get to cornerstones in your life, and at certain ages you're considered a man or a woman. And it's just different than what us in our world and in the real world, right? Like consider normal, right? So like it's just different in that universe, in that weird fantasy universe. So it's like, okay, cool. As long as they're like acknowledging it, that's the reason, the way that thing is, the reason sex is so kind of maybe not as taboo, then I can accept it. I don't like it all the time, but I can absolutely be like, okay, I understand why it's that way, and I can continue and enjoy the characters and enjoy the anime and the visuals and the action, all that stuff, and just get over the weird sexy bits that keep pop up sometimes randomly. So,
and then the entire other half of the show is just really solid isekai, to where our main character, he is really talented, but he's not flawless. He's got lots of skills, but he's not perfect. And they never make him feel like he's just going to be like the main character
or super OP, just
because he's just a child for this entire beginning part of the show. And then by the end of it, it just straight up becomes like a legit isekai. And it turns into some dark material that I was pretty into. I think that they handled the whole progression of the show very well. I'm excited that we're going to get a second season, because I feel like we kind of just hit the stride of the show. It's good. Mm-hmm. It's fun.
I agree. And as a person who has personally, I've condemned a lot of isekais. I'm at that point where like I'm really over
We're all
them.
pretty fucking sick of isekais.
But you had told me like, hey, check it out. I decided to check it out, and I like the fact that, like you said, he isn't the most powerful thing for whatever reason, just because. I love that's not the case. He is super strong, but there are other people in this world who are as strong as him or even stronger than him, which I really like. People that he's trained with who could probably kick his ass now.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, I also one thing that irks me about isekais is the fact that they'll talk about being born in a different world and then coming here to their new world or whatever, and then we never really see things like kind of go back. It's just more like, oh, we'll forget all of that, In this show, what's the word? He narrates it, so he's always talking about it. We see a point where he is passed out and has like an encounter with a god, and he's in his original human form, like in a weird in between kind of plane. And I was like, okay, cool. Just like I've never seen that. Usually they just kind of pretend that never happened ever again. Or we even saw him. I don't know what episode it was, but we then get to see later him like being kicked out of his house after being missing a funeral and then dying, and how he died. I was like, oh, I like all of this. I'm glad that we're getting all this, because that's just something that bugs me about isekai. They're just like, oh, we're just gonna forget all that shit. We're not gonna even try to get there anymore. Blah blah blah. And the fact that it was an isekai, and then inside that isekai he went to another world again. I was like, this is great. So yeah, check it out. I'm stoked for season 2.
It's the adult version of The Ascendance of a Bookworm.
Yeah, that's a good one. I really do like that. Yeah. Even though it didn't, Ascendance of a Bookworm eventually get really wild, but there's like dragons and shit,
Yeah. Eventually it's like, and there's magic, and you're like, whoa. And it's like, yeah. And also there's like Pegasus and fighters, and there's like a world tree that's trying to like everything turns into. Oh shit. Okay.
But the first 6 episodes are her trying to make paper. She's like, how the fuck do I make paper?
Yeah. It's like the slowest Dr. Stone you got.
Jesus, yeah.
And then it turns into just an actual isekai in season 2, progressively, and it's just so focused on building the world and characters and all that. It's definitely the family-friendly Jobless Reincarnation, and Jobless Reincarnation is the adult version of that family-friendly show. So yeah. It's a really solid isekai. I do recommend this to way more people than I ever expected, because the character redemption arc is the main focus, and it's pretty solid.
And there's some really good fights and some just really good action sequences. Yeah,
looks so good. Next up, I'm going to talk about these kind of together, because
sounds good.
Guess what? I have to. So we got Cells at Work, Code Black, made by LIDENFILMS. They made Otherside Picnic from before. Mm-hmm. And then there's Cells at Work with 2 exclamation points by David Production, who did JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And that's like the main, like everyone knows him for that. Cells at Work, Code Black is the darker, I guess. They're in a shitty body. Let's just put it that way. It's the cells in a shitty body. And Cells at Work, this is the 2nd season of it, where the characters are in a good body that just kind of deals with some really everyday problems. So Cells at Work, Code Black, you're in it, you're watching it, and you're like, all right, let's see, how's this body fucked up? Oh, looks like they're drunk. Oh, looks like they have kidney problems. Oh no, looks like they can't get an erection. Oh man, now the ejaculate's going nowhere. They're not creating life like the cells would like to. So literally just killing all these cells that we just like got to see and meet. And then kidney stones, and you've got balding, and you've got heart problems, and it is just thing after thing. Characters are dying. They actually have a major character die in the show, which is exciting. It's good. It's darker. It's good. It's a fun time. And all the problems are fun to see, like how the solutions come up across, and how these problems are represented in like a Osmosis Jones type situation. Mm-hmm. But it's a lot more like a city than Osmosis Jones.
I watched some of Cells at Work, Code Black. I got up until the gonorrhea episode. I was like, yeah, I get it. This is fine. Kind of like you were talking about it. It is just episode after episode, just another random thing. It doesn't look as good as visually, I think, as the original Cells at Work, but it's still fine.
I just think it's a different style. I still like
style wise though. I just think the animations it's not the cleanest animation.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. David Production. Sure. They've got better people than LIDENFILMS. So let's just put it that way.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, it's just a darker version. It's fun. I don't feel like it's worth getting into because I think a lot of people are familiar with Cells at Work at this point. But Cells at Work Season 2, it's a lot more of the same cutesy stuff, but it's very short. I think it's like 7 or 8 episodes or something, and then it just ends. And it focuses on a healthy body, and it ends the same way that the first season ended, which felt weird to me. So I don't know. Cells at Work is fine. It's a very slice of life. Check out what the human body does. We're making jokes about it. You get to learn a little bit because there's lots of cells that I wasn't aware of before this, what their specific jobs were, what they're called, just how cells help the human body function. It's fine. It looks good. Both are a lot of fun, but Code Black. Huge shout out to the soundtrack. Mostly the intro and outro, because I haven't heard the Poly 6 in so long, and then they came back and I'm jamming, and I will absolutely keep jamming to these intro and outro songs all the time, even though I'm not sure how well they work for the show, because they're very fun and all over the place, and the show immediately comes in with the like, and we're in the middle of hell, and this is what's going on. But the intro is just so like, da 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 da. You're just having a good time. But it was fun. It was enjoyable. And on to this week's most important topic, with lots of spoilers about the manga and everything. Promised Neverland by CloverWorks. You might know CloverWorks is doing some of the best shows of the season, like Horimiya and Wonder Egg Priority. And now we're on to the second season of The Promised Neverland. Spoiler time. I mean, fucking also horrible. Yeah. Never watch season 2 unless you are in for a bad time and you like that, you sick motherfucker. Morbid curiosity is not worth it. Juan was like, you know what? Now that I've read it, I'm gonna watch it. Was it worth it?
It was really bad.
Yeah, it was
I am glad I watched it, because I was just like, oh man, I get why Trip's so pissed now. Like,
yeah, when you watch it, it's just like, all right, well, this is doing some okay stuff, and then suddenly it becomes,
why?
Whoa, guys, come on.
I'm watching the anime and I go, this is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever seen.
What? There's
why did they decide to do that?
Yeah. Well, they started out with immediately. We haven't spoiled anything yet, but they got to a specific beat in the story where you're just like, oh, this pops off the next story arc, and then that whole episode was like a very calm episode, and I was like, whew. Then they're gonna go big the next episode, and they were like, hey, you remember the end of that story arc? We're already at it.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, well, they might just be doing weird stuff. I don't really know. And then they were like, so we're just gonna fucking blow past everything. That one that you were waiting for, it's gone. That other one that you had a pretty good time with, out of here. We're just at the very last. Like, it's not even following the manga. It's so different. It's,
you know what I describe it as? It's like when you need to copy someone's homework because you didn't do your homework at home, and they go, sure, copy it, but change a few things so it's not exactly the same. You go, okay, for sure. And then you change too many things and you still get a failing grade. Like, that's what it felt like. I was like, how did you fuck up so bad?
It looked good at first, and then the quality dropped too.
Dipped so hard. No, for the last, the last 2 episodes, I could sit there and be like, they didn't animate anything on this frame. Like it
was the last 2 specifically, and it was like, why? This is where the budget should have gone, right? Like,
there's bits where like every animation shot is like it's just some person like lifting their arm and going, huh, like that, and then they'll shoot to somewhere else, or they'll do really dumb things where it's like, Emma will be talking to somebody else and the other person is talking, so we see their back, and instead we see Emma, listening to what they're saying, as opposed to the other way around, is seeing the person talk or seeing Emma react. It wild.
Sucked. It was crazy. And then also they had a fucking slideshow for the entire half of the last episode that was like it was specific shots from the manga just colored. And it's like, that's fine. That's what we want. That's what anime should be. But it just felt like so dumb.
To be fair, because you did say, like, hey, man, the last half is just like a slideshow. And I go, okay, let me see it. I would say the last 4 minutes are absolutely a slideshow where it's just like still. The last, like, 10 minutes before those 4 minutes is an animatic where it's just like they drew the thing and then they'll move like a bit of it. They'll go arms go down, like, you know, and like they do like that super shitty Apple movie, or what's it called, iVideo like filter, where it's just like they blend into the other image. It just looks like ass.
They didn't even have a background.
You know what's really good too? They're talking about people, like they're introducing characters who like are super important. Like, what do? They just black them all the way out. They drew their armor, but no face, no eyes. It's just a suit of armor. And it's just like, why even fucking add it, dude? Okay. We're gonna don't
all right.
watch
So
this.
actual spoilers for the manga and the show, and this is yeah.
So the story arc that gets skipped, that Trip was like, dude, you're gonna be super pissed. They skipped the great story. I'm like, I don't care. The Goldie Pond story arc, because
Goldie fucking Pond story arc, man, the third story arc.
I think I mentioned on the podcast earlier, but when Trip had told me, hey man, the last episode's a slideshow or whatever, I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna read the manga. So I read all of the manga in like 2 days, and I was like, fuck,
yeah,
dude,
I was like, Jesus,
dude, that Goldie Pond shit was so fucking good.
It was rad.
It essentially becomes a survival anime, which is like my favorite type of anime.
I know. I was like, oh man, Juan, when you get around to seeing this in the show, it's going to be so fucking good. It's going to blow your mind.
And they did blow my mind. They blew my mind by not even doing it. Yeah, so they got rid of that, which then in turn gets rid of a really good character that you like a lot.
I love Yugo. He fucking starts out by just being in the monitor room with like a gun and being like, fuck you guys. Like, that's his intro.
He's like a lunatic. Yeah, he's like...
And you're like, whoa, this is way different than anything else. And in the anime, they were just like, and here's some like writing on the wall that we're never going to talk about again.
Mm-hmm. Sorry. And you're like, why? So yeah, so that's really cool. So the Goldie Pond bits, Emma gets stuck essentially in like a what do they call it, like
battle royale,
hunting grounds for some demons,
carnival hunting grounds.
Like, so we miss the collection of like those skillful characters that then join the group and
teach them how to survive out there.
There's just so many characters that just don't make it into the manga. That make it in the manga that don't make it into the anime, and then there are characters in the manga who make it into the anime, and you go,
why?
Why the fuck are they here? Like,
why was Zazie here?
What's going on? I'm
the most upset about him, but whatever.
Okay,
and they featured that little like white-haired kid so much.
Mm-hmm.
Who the fuck is he?
Who the fuck knows? Also, again, like we said, huge spoilers. So, Norman is not, he's not dead, right?
Like, but off the bat, too.
But I'm like, you know what? In my heart, I was like, I know he's not dead. We didn't see a body. Which wouldn't make sense.
I think it's the fault of the show for making people feel that way. Because I think most people I know, they were like,
in the manga,
hey, Norman's still alive, right? And I'm like, it was pretty unclear. That's all that I could say, I guess.
In the manga, it did feel more like, what's it called? Like, definite. Like, okay,
it was
like
definitive for sure.
Cut and dry. Like, you're like, he's
There
gone.
were a lot of shots of Norman, like, dead. It was some in-between stuff shots, so it wasn't like real, but it was like the imagery of Norman being dead with all the other people that have been confirmed to be dead,
Yeah, but it's so, I don't know, super quick into season 2 we find out he's alive, and it's just like cool, and then they fast forward to his plot to annihilate all the demons, and he has like this fucking medicine to kill them all that he created. He's like, it's just like everything is so convenient and convoluted at the same time. And
in the manga, we find out he's alive or possibly alive. We know that he didn't die during the Goldie Pond arc.
Mm-hmm. Right. Because of a character that we meet, yeah.
Yeah. And immediately I'm like, oh, I am so interested. What's going on with him? Now we have somebody who's connected. I can't wait until we find out. And it was like a new mystery. And then seeing all the layers of Norman unfold and seeing what he's been up to was fucking awesome.
Sorry, we get into manga stuff. Did we ever find out how Adam got out of Landa or whatever?
It's assumed that he got out at the same time that Norman escaped.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. I guess it would add up. I will say that the manga has the bit where what's it called? where they're, Minerva's are back or whatever, and like there's someone doing stuff, and like I instantly like just visually looking at the way the character was designed, I was like, oh, that has to be fucking,
the fucking Pokemon villain ass looking.
Yeah. It's just like, who's that? It's Norman. That silhouette's Norman. I don't know what you're trying to get at. I'd also like in the manga they did a better job of like a time gap. Like they feel like they aged. In the anime, it's like cool. They still feel like they're little dumbass babies.
Yeah, because there was only a year that they skipped in the anime, but in the manga at that point it had been at least 3 years, I think.
Yeah, no,
it was either 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, they had to get back with before someone. I don't remember. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. The thing is, the timing just felt off. Everything felt so rushed.
Yeah, it really was.
I don't want to get into this actual end spoiler bits of the manga and the anime because people have said that they dislike the ending of the manga. Like, they
just straight up, they were
like,
just
we're not happy with it.
Yeah, and they thought that when they heard that the story was going a little bit different direction because the directors, like the mangaka is working on it.
Yeah.
The people were stoked. They were like, "Oh, that means that he might be changing the ending. That is very like critically unliked." I mean,
and because I know you still have to read that because you're reading it when it gets serialized.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil that because like I would, I don't want to be that dude. But I will say it's different, obviously. And I feel like I can say wholeheartedly that the manga's ending is a billion times better than the anime ending. Like there's like
billion times. I don't doubt that.
It is baffling. Like there's like the last shot in this anime where we see Phil has now gotten older. He's like fucking long necked looking motherfucker with a giraffe, and Emma's back. And they're all like, "Hey, we're here." And I'm just like, what is this?
What?
Nah, dude. This is fucking what? Yeah. There's just so there's a lot of characters that get missed out because of the way they did things. There's a lot of good plots. There's a lot of good like lore about the demon
I was
world
kind of upset that we didn't get the like little girl that was adopted by demons.
You know what? I'm gonna say this. I don't really care for that character. Even in the manga, she feels very just like they are like, hey, we need a new character, and they drew this super dope character with like wolves, and they're just like, here you go, and it's like, and she really doesn't do shit in the manga. It feels like when I'm reading it, I'm just like,
so I'm assuming she's probably not going to be around for the last 2 books, but I liked where she fit in, and I wanted more. If I don't get more, oh well, that sucks. It did feel like a lot of characters were just thrown in.
Yeah, that's one thing I was noticing while reading the manga and thinking about the anime. Is like, you know what? It would have been really expensive to make this. Like, they absolutely could have made it.
Well, that's why I was like, this is going to be such a crazy show.
Yeah, no, even before season 2 came out, you were saying, like, I wonder how they're going to do it. Like,
I didn't know where they were going to end the second season. I didn't know what story arc they were going to be in.
I think, and when I was like, well, they could have done a bunch of stuff and then started the Goldie Pond stuff.
Yeah.
Or they could have fast forward that bit and then get into Goldie Pond and then kind of end in the middle. And that would have been sick, right?
And that's kind of what we were talking about. Like, there was some stuff that wasn't as important, so we could skip past that.
Yeah, like the trees that would eat people. We're like, oh, that's maybe
which
they're
was
saving
still
time.
Fucking cool. But
like maybe
as I'm watching it,
yeah,
exactly.
Like, okay, you're like, okay, cool. They're fast forwarding things. Little did we know they not only fast forward, they broke the button and the fucking the VHS went all the way to the end. Like it just.
But meanwhile, they were just like, stop. He's like, it's fine, guys. Stop freaking out. There's the remote's fine.
I'll double back. I'll keep going. I'll go so far forward. I'll go to the front and then kind of come back.
Man,
don't watch this.
What a time.
Don't ever watch season 2 of My Hero of Promised Neverland. I will say I do think you can watch season 1 and then just go back and read the manga because that's what I did. And
I have a hard time with that sometimes. But then there's also, I got really, really into the fucking Land of the Lustrous. I was like, damn, it really sucks that there hasn't been a second season of this. Time to read it all. And other times I've been like, oh man, Attack on Titan hasn't had season 2. It's been years. I'll check it out. And then I read the first issue and I was like, I'm just going to wait for the show.
You're like, not for me, guys.
Like, the knowledge wasn't what I was looking for. It was just like, I wanted the whole plot. I wanted it to look great. I wanted it to feel great. And with Attack on Titan, I didn't really get that. With The Promised Neverland, I'm happy to hear that you can do that.
Yeah, you can do it and still enjoy it, or just fucking read the manga. Or if you don't want to read the manga because you're not a reader, just avoid this.
Season
just
1,
don't
done.
don't even hurt yourself. I had said this is like one of the worst things I've ever seen in anime. We'd be super stoked to see this get like a proper remake or like a redo or reboot.
If this
or something.
got a Brotherhood, I would lose my shit.
That'd be sick as fuck.
I'd be like, I don't trust it at all, but I'm fucking hype.
As long as they give it to a studio that can handle it, don't give it to fucking JC Staff.
I do think that season 1 could be improved on in little ways or changed.
It's not perfect.
So if they did remake it, I would look forward to that, but I feel like it would be generally the exact same.
Yeah, I think...
Or they would speed up that plot line.
The first time I saw Hunter x Hunter, I saw the original one, and I was like, this feels kind of old. And then, I don't know, years later, I saw the more newer one. I was like, oh, this is familiar. And I was just like, you know what? It gives me that idea of like, Promise Neverland can do that. We're like, cool. If they give it some time, they come back at it again. They could probably do it more justice.
But I don't want the Hunter x Hunter treatment where they don't actually finish it.
Yeah, no. I think that's all there really is to say about Promised Neverland. It's one of the hugest letdowns I've ever felt in anime. It's more disappointing than I think season 2 of One Punch Man. The more I think about it,
yeah, because season 2 of One Punch Man, like One Punch Man, was a lot of fun, but it was a comedy when it came down to things, and you're not as invested in it. You're like, I just want to have fun, and it's like you can still have fun, but just not like that much, I guess. And then you go, oh, all right. Promised Neverland season 2 is like, hey, you remember season 1? And you're like, yeah, fuck I do. Yeah, it was great. And they're like,
they go, fuck you, and they spit in your face, and they go, no, it's over, it's done. And I absolutely think that the creator got a job with the studio to be like, fuck these guys. They didn't appreciate my manga. I'm gonna ruin their anime. Fucking well played, dude. You got us. Fucking egg in our face. That's it. There's nothing much more to say about this. Don't fucking ever watch it.
Something you should absolutely watch, especially if you're in a good mood, feeling pretty pleasant, just chill. Nothing like over the top, but you're just like vibing. You're having a good time. Non Biori, nonstop. We are on the third season, fourth season of Non Biori. I don't remember.
I think it's season 3.
Yeah. This is made by Silverlink. They've made Kokoro Connect, Nanaka-kun is Always Listless, and Bo Free, I Don't Want to Get Hurt, so I'll max out my defense. And this is just a nice little slice of life show about some girls that live out in the country. They are all in like grade school and junior high. And then there are a couple that are in high school. And this is a good time. If you haven't seen the first 2 seasons, you don't really need to see them. But they establish the characters a little bit more. Each of the seasons takes place over the course of a year, and it's the same year. You're just seeing different days. I really, really had a good time with this season. There were some pretty chill, pretty mundane episodes that just felt good to watch. And then there were other episodes which had me laughing pretty hard. I don't have a whole lot to say because it's exactly what you would expect. If you've seen it before, this is just more of the same great content that you're looking for. Nothing remarkable to say because it's just a lot of really good bits. It's segmented into like a few different plot lines per episode, and nothing is high stakes ever. Like the most high stakes it got at the end was newer character's mom was pregnant and she had the baby. So that was kind of cool. But then the last episode, you never know how the last episode of Slice of Life shows are going to go. Usually, if it's like a high school show, it'll be the end of the school year and they're going to all go off to college. Or if it's junior high, they're all going to go off to different high schools. So there's always that like big moment. This has some stuff like that, but it's mostly just the older brother that never says a single word is going to go off to high school. But this episode, it shows them at the like graduation ceremony, like singing songs and having a good time. And then they're just like vibing in the summer right after that into the first day of school the next year, which I was like, whoa, we're going into the next year. This shit's crazy, bro. This is blowing my mind.
It's like the perfect fucking scam to be like, hey, dude, you want to make these characters never fucking grow old? We'll just do, every season will be the same year, just different days. Like First season, it was only Mondays. Second season, only Tuesdays. It's like it's like the smartest thing I've ever heard. And it blew my mind when you told me that was a thing. It's like
you're like, of course, yes, of course.
It's like, this is fucking genius. Who would have thought? Because of that, it upsets me because I want them to become older.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, Juan. Because we got that, what they showed is that this newer character, she is the policeman that lives in town, the daughter of his, and the next season might start out where they are a year older because they're all still there except for the older brother. And they might give best character, but they might just give him the older sister treatment where Renge-chan has an older sister that goes off to Tokyo for school in high school.
True, yeah.
So he might get that same treatment where he's still around sometimes, but not all the time, which I think would be fine because he's not heavily featured anyways. So if he were to come back in every once in a while, they would put a heavy emphasis on that.
I can't believe you said he wasn't heavily featured. If he wasn't around, they never would have gone on vacation, you dummy.
That's a movie, and that's a spoiler.
And that's not canon.
No. So essentially, you might have a new year in the plot line of Nanan Biori. They go and they pick up that new character for her first day of first grade. And
she's a first grader.
She's a first grader. She's a tiny little kid.
And what now grade is the normal little girl, the one that does?
I think that she was in second grade, so she might be going to third, or she was in first grade and she's going to second. One of the two. She's older, so
she's so good as a character.
Oh,
bro.
She is. There's a whole episode about when she was a baby and Candy Store was taking care of her and like playing with her, and then this other girl comes over and like starts also playing with her and talking to her. And Candy Store's like, you got to be really careful with her. Like, she is very sensitive. She didn't even like me at first. And look at how good we get along. And then the whole time, Renge is just like having such a good time with this new girl and being very vocal without saying any words as a baby. It was a good time. It was like a pretty solid baby episode. So nice. Highly recommend that.
And that all happened in the same year.
Same year, dude.
I guess that's super funny because they can get away with that because they go, cool. And this year, I'm telling you about this one time or whatever. Yeah,
it's crazy. Funny. And she also calls all the characters by whatever she's introduced to them as, I guess. And if she's introduced to Candy Store as the girl that works at the candy store, she's calling her Candy Store forever. Well, she was introduced to her new friend's dad as the policeman. So instead of saying your dad, she always says like the policeman when talking about him. And straight up to his face and also the mom. I appreciated that. That was some solid shit. Very fun show. Another good season. Speaking of another good season, Attack on Titan, the final season, the actual last season, the one that was going to end everything, made by MAPPA this time, MAPPA, instead of Studio Wit. They've made Dorohedoro, Dororo, and Zombieland Saga. I'm always going to put those two together because I think
because you
funny.
Like seeing it back to back. I can tell you. Absolutely.
I was looking for a third one that felt the same. I was like, ooh, maybe Sarazanmai, but I didn't feel right about that.
Yeah.
Dororo, Dorohedoro, Sarazanmai, nah. Bad roll. Anyways, yeah.
And you only say that you say that jokingly because as this season came on, like was going on, you're like,
yeah,
there's no way this can end. There has to be more. And yeah, it was like those fuckers waited to the last minute to be like, hey, BT Dubs, part 2 of the final season will be coming out later, I think next year or whatever. So it's done with the first part of it. They really fucking. The Twilight Part 1 and 2, Harry Potter Part 1 and 2, Hunger Games Part 1 and 2 does. Those sons of bitches, they learned something.
They fucking learned something.
Yes, but that being said, this final season has been fucking great. Woo! The intro really grew on me. It really gets me hyped to fucking see just horrible war crimes be committed and see characters I love and really care about get hurt really badly or betrayed or fucking murdered in cold blood. It's great. Kate, I'm sorry, maybe wait till part 2 comes out. I don't think you can watch this one. This one ends on a huge cliffhanger.
For people that are waiting, you don't have to watch it. We're not really going to talk about Attack on Titan a whole lot. I don't think it's worth it, at least for me, to talk too much about it.
So good. I'm going to tell you exactly how it ends. Here we go.
Well, we are getting another about season worth of stuff, and it's going to be the final season, part 2, of course. I don't know why they did it this way. I don't know why this is happening, but
capitalize, who knows, money, whatever.
There's a lot of really good story in this, like, a whole MAPPA directed season. It looks fantastic. I was questioning certain things at first. Essentially, any 3D animation that doesn't completely mesh with the anime, you're going to notice pretty well. And the 3D animation that they used at the beginning didn't mesh that well. So I was very hesitant, like, ooh, I don't really know. Nah, it's fantastic. The whole season is absolutely amazing. It's the same great content that you expect from Attack on Titan. Got us some good memes. It looks fantastic. Oh, yeah. The music's great. The new characters are great. I am so invested, and I'm so upset because I thought that I would be done with the show that I've loved for years, and I would have a great ending to it. But now we're rolling the dice. One more season, baby. It's going to be fine because they actually are following the manga.
Who knows if they can do it. No, they're gonna take a huge left turn and be like, yeah, dude, we decided to make it funny at the end. So
in 1 year, we will be right here talking about Attack on Titan and its actual ending. Yeah. In the meantime, do you want to say anything specific about this show?
There's nothing really like I've been dying to talk to you about, because you and I are able to talk about it before the pod and like kind of get it out of our system.
I mean, the thing about this is that like the people that are watching Attack on Titan, they're not like, hey man, how was this last season? Like, clearly everybody that enjoyed Attack on Titan likes it for the same reasons that we do. And this whole season had so much good stuff that we look forward to in all the previous ones. I thought the character development was great. I thought that the story development was great. The dramatic moments felt like pretty damn good. There weren't like many major character deaths going on, I think, maybe. So it wasn't as like impactful as other seasons felt.
I think what I appreciated like a lot about this season was the fact that they were able to give us new characters and backstories on them, and make me go from hating them to loving them to also really, really wanting a lot of them to die. Like, you know,
like you want them to die, but you also just want it to stop.
It's really good because there's a lot of people like, you know, online making, you know, memes and videos of the whole Attack on Titans thing, and we've come to the realization that no one is really in the right. You know, everybody's kind of bad. War is just bad in general. And
it starts out as a boy is upset because his entire life and family have been destroyed by these creatures, and it fast forwards into it's all a part of some like government plan and war, and it turns out that it's been like a centuries long issue, and these are actual people, and it turns into a whole different thing to where at first you're just like, oh yeah, this is freaky and scary and nobody knows what it is, into like, it's other countries doing this shit, and like we have to stop them, and like it's so much harder than just the monsters.
Yeah, the real monsters are humans. That's, you know, we're the fucking plague. So yeah, I think hats off to Attack on Titan for being around for as long as it has been, and it's still just being very captivating, and, you know, having me want to come back for more, and super stoked to see how it ends. I have also, like, you've been on that bandwagon where like maybe I'll read the manga, you know, like maybe because I can't wait anymore. But seeing how well this last season was produced, it does make me be like, you know what, just be patient.
One more year, dude. Just one more year, and you're gonna have it all, and you'll be done. And you've already been with it for like 9 years. So
yeah, there were a few stupid things I feel like in this season, and I think they're only stupid because I felt like they were too convenient. And I don't want to bring up because they might be spoilers for the manga or whatever, but I think maybe besides them being, the reason they probably came off as stupid is because they probably had to cut out all the backstory for it to make sense for it to be in the anime. So it just kind of gets said, and then I go, that's very convenient, and I think that's dumb. Not on the levels of like Promise Neverland dumb.
Not everything just working out at all times dumb.
Fuck, dude. I didn't even say that my least favorite thing about Promise Neverland. The fact that they're given a piece with like all the answers at the very end of the anime, and then it also says,
"Oh my god, this is how we'll be saved," and also
by the way,
all this stuff.
There's a fucking cure right here. This is how it cures us from this disease that we're dying from. I go, are you? Anyways, so it doesn't
which is
like
literally just from the anime, which we are okay with spoiling all of it. It's not from the manga like that. Don't worry.
No, yeah, it doesn't happen like that. So, even though, like I said, it has those moments where I go, "Oh, that's stupid." It's still really great. Yeah, that's it. Fucking bomb ass intro.
Amazing intro. The outro always felt like very good to calm down with, I guess.
Fuck Gabby. That's all I gotta say. Fuck Gabby. Fuck her.
Yeah, Gabby is straight up brainwashed bish, but
she's a good character. Can't wait for her to die.
Oh, also, shoutouts to Peak. Holy shit, Peak is dope, dude. Yeah. For a second, I was like, is she about to be the coolest character? And then I was like, nah, but she's a real one.
Like, she's close. Yeah. I can't wait for her to die, too. Fuck her.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I'm so excited for...
Here's the thing.
Excited to see some people die, Trip. You don't even know.
I know.
There's like 2 characters I don't want to die. That's it.
Who are they? Let's jinx it.
I don't want Connie to die. He's absolutely going to die. There's no way he's not dying. And I don't want Levi to die. And I have a feeling he might make it. The reason I don't think that that like, because I also really like Armin. I know he's gonna, he's destined to die because he has he's on a timer. So like that's why I'm like, I've made my terms with that. But Levi and Connie, I'm just like, yeah, man. I hope they do it, but it'd be really cool to see them die because I'd be like, oh, dope. What great characters I've come to really enjoy and love. Now they're dead. Awesome.
Yeah, well, that's how I felt when Sasha died this season. She got killed, and I was just like, yeah, whatever. She's one of my favorite characters. She might be my favorite character, but like, whatever. And then for the next 5 episodes, they were just like, hey, you remember how she's dead? She's really dead now. She's fucking dead, guys. She's dead. And I'm like, stop it. I know. I'm sad about it. I know. Okay?
It was really funny because it did take a couple episodes for you to kind of hit, and you're like, dude, she's gone. Like, yeah, dude. Why aren't you? He's like, it's just now hitting me. I was like, oh, you poor thing.
That's not exactly how it worked.
He was devastated.
It was more of the dad's little speech about Sasha wandering in the woods too much. I was like, they made me feel real bad about it, but it took a while. Like,
oh, dude, when the dad gives a speech and then like it's like we'll all be peaceful, and then Sasha's sister, I guess, or the girl that
was
just
like fucking went nuts, grabs a knife and caused a whole problem.
Oh, that was so sick. I was like, yeah, Dad, I'm on your side. Everybody should fucking chill out and like,
damn, dude.
And then immediately, and then she's like, no, fuck you, you're fucking, I'll kill you. I was like, yes, all of this chaos is what I'm into.
That episode was so good, and then it just it ends with the like Pokemon
the
cards.
McDonald's, the McDonald's Happy Meal, dude. All I'm saying is that like that's such a good episode because it's like it's a great example of how everything in this show could be solved if everybody sat down, rationally spoke, and came to terms with situations and like let things go. But because these people are so like these characters are so real, that just will never happen. There will always be bad blood, there will always be anger, and they will always want revenge. And it boils down to even characters who aren't main characters, like even just like side characters, even fucking throwaway characters who's like, yeah, I'm just like a normal human, normal NPC. It's like, no, that bitch wants blood. She was about to murder Gabby, like right there. That shit was so good. It was one of my favorites.
Yeah, wow,
bro,
that one was amazing.
Good shit. Yeah, good shit.
One of my favorite characters already dead. My other favorite character also already dead, and now has a timeline, like a ticking time bomb that he is. So I'm kind of out of the investments at this point. Of course I love Mikasa. Mikasa's fucking awesome.
Whatever.
But god damn it, dude. She's going to go down like fighting for Eren. It's some fucking bullshit.
Yeah, when we find out her situation, with like Eren explaining to her like you're just essentially this puppet. I was like, that is so fucking mean. And when I say stupid stuff, when she has that weird thing on her wrist, like that engraving, it's just like
that was
that's
the most
convenient.
That
came out of nowhere.
That.
It's just like, oh, you're fucking royalty. Could have fucking fooled me. Whatever stuff like that. But yeah, I'm pretty sure she's gonna die too. And I'm okay with it. Like her and and Aaron will probably die together. Like embracing each other or some shit like that. I don't know. Again, all speculation. We haven't read the manga. We know that there's information out there. We could look it up.
Not gonna.
But we don't want to. We don't.
Dude, what if Historia has a baby and names it like a mirror or something?
What if Historia has a baby and it is Aaron's baby?
What do you think they're gonna do with Annie?
I think someone's gonna swallow that bitch. Like someone's gonna acquire the powers of the jaw and then devour her.
What I would like to happen is they find out some kind of a way to bring back Annie, and then Armin goes, "Hey man, lots of shit going on. I'm gonna keep you up to date. Like,
do you want to go on a date?"
You and me, baby. He would just be like,
yeah.
I'm like half Bertolt right now. Just a heads up. And then she would be like, all right, so we talking about what now? And then they both team up against Aaron. I would love to see Annie back at it on a good side. I don't think so either.
I don't think it's gonna happen.
I would love to see that happen.
You know why I feel that's gonna happen is because I think even though Annie's essentially in this perpetual state of frozenness, she is still, I feel like, a super down like
she is a Marleyan motherfucker.
There's no way. Like she's she might not be as brainwashed as Gabby, but she is still really true to where her loyalties lie. So it'd be really hard for, I feel like, our fucking coconut head to convince her otherwise.
But with the Bertolt connection, I feel like Annie and Bertolt got along a lot better than we ever got to see. So there could be some wiggle room there. I definitely don't think that Annie's gonna no.
I don't. Yeah,
but that's my dream fight. I would love to see Armin and Annie duking up with Aaron.
Oh man, I just forgot about that. It was Mikasa. You're essentially a puppet. You're brainwashed, and then Armin, you're only into Annie because you fucking ate her ex-boyfriend. Like, dude, you're obsessed with her. Get over it, you fucking creep. I was like, Aaron, you're so
you fucking
mean.
Asshole. And he's like, anyways, since I'm way stronger than you,
boom, beats the shit. He's like, I've always fucking hated you. It's like, why are you saying these? Like, you're a bad guy. You're all bad guys. Yeah, man. I think that's it. I will say, of all the animes this season, that I watched, the only one I didn't like or didn't have a good time with was obviously Promised Neverland. I think it's really up there for Attack on Titan and Wonder Egg priority for myself, just because
it's so hard. I mean, we have that connection
with Attack on Titan, but Wonder Egg priority is so fucking good.
If we had the final episode, we might be able to give you a better answer. But what we're going to do instead is we will compare them once Attack on Titan ends next year.
Yeah.
Be like,
we'll
be like, better?
We'll be like, you know what? 13 episodes of Wonder Egg Priority absolutely demolishes the 5 seasons or 4 seasons that Attack on Titan is. Get fucked. I don't know if that'll be true, but Horimiya probably at the bottom of my list, and I actually really ended up really liking the Jobless Reincarnation show, and probably gonna watch season 2
out of left field too. That was like a very we're gonna watch it, but we don't expect anything from it. We're gonna keep watching it, but I don't really know until it hit that point where you're like, nah, this is just a good show. I really look forward to this. But halfway through the first season.
But props to even watching episode 1 and being like, us being confused.
I see some potential.
This good? Yeah, what is this? And for it to kind of pay off at the end and be like, dope.
Man. That's when you take those risks and it's worth it, and that's why we do this show, It's like
that's why we do this show.
Yeah, well, I mean, kinda it's like, hey, convince me to watch an anime. That's what the whole podcast kind of started as. Like, hey man, you know anime, I know anime, let's talk it, let's convince each other to watch a little bit more.
And then we find out, but we don't know anime.
Yeah. Oh shit, neither of us know anything about anime. And now we're at this point, we're like, still don't know anything, but we know way more than back then.
You know what's super funny? I remember just you and I discovering, or at least it being brought to light, that anime worked on a rotating season, and it was winter, spring, fall, or whatever. And I was just like, wait, hold on. There's not just an anime that pops up on Netflix every now and then, or something I have to watch. Up.
This isn't just you've downloaded illegally.
You're like, what? It's so embarrassing to be not knowing what streaming services for animes were and us knowing hey, this is when the Simuldub comes out, and this shit's all wrapping up. Usually shit's 12 episodes long unless it's 2 core. It's wild how how we've learned so much about this stupid fucking shit.
Really is, man.
And we still haven't finished Attack on Titan.
Yeah, I know. That's what it comes down to.
One day.
No Attack on Titan. I decided that any Wonder Egg priority figures that come out,
you got the vibe.
I'm pre-ordering them, man. I don't normally pre-order things. I feel like there's a better
you like finding them
connection for me, to find them at Anime Expo or Crunchyroll Expo or Sack Anime or whatever, to find this cool unique figure. I think I'm just gonna pre-order any Wonder Egg priority figures that I find out about.
Yeah, for sure.
Whether it's like a villain, whether it's our main characters, whether it's the animal companions, whether it's the robots, whether it's just a fucking egg, I am there.
Oh yeah, an egg would be cool. I think the glowing beetle would be sick too to have. Okay, Did you want to talk about what your favorites were, or are you kind of done? Because
honestly, we kind of said it as we were going through. I think Wonder Egg Priority might be one of my favorite shows of all time. I feel like with a lot of things, you kind of need to let it rest before you can decide if it's going to stay up there. Like, sometimes you're watching it and you feel like, oh yeah, I know exactly how I feel about this. It's amazing, but there are these other shows that are better. This, at every point, I was like, this is doing a lot of things to me that other shows haven't been able to really do. It's got that whole like battle aspect of it that I absolutely love. It has some emotional conversations. It's got some darker topics that I think other shows haven't explored nearly as well. I liked the characters. It all felt very real and genuine, and I can't wait to see more. Like, after every episode, it just felt special. And instead of being like, ooh, I can't wait for the next episode, I was like, I'm worried about the next episode because what if it fucking sucks? Like, I am having such a good time if they suddenly do terrible, terrible things, because at the same time I'm watching The Promised Neverland, and I know that there have been some problems with production at Promised Neverland. I wasn't sure how much that might affect Wonder Egg Priority. I fucking loved every second of it. And then Attack on Titan, yeah. I mean, I started the first episode of this season and was like, I don't really know, you guys. We'll find out how I feel. Watched the second episode, and I was just 100% in it. And from that point on, it was just an amazing show that was hard to readjust to for the last season. I think that other than that, Horimiya and Jobless Reincarnation, 100% worth watching both of those. Just a really, really solid time with 4 shows this season, and a pretty good time with 5 shows, because Non-Non-Biori as well. But and then a few other shows that were enjoyable, just not that great, that I watched all the way through. We both intended on watching more shows than we actually wound up watching.
Right.
But we weren't having a good time, so peace out, bitch. We gave you a few episodes and you didn't deliver, and like, come on.
Yeah, just get good, dude. Come on.
Get good, nerd. Thank you guys for hanging out and listening to us while we talked about a bunch of fucking spoilers.
Yeah, I feel like we did a good job, though. I feel like we didn't drag it on too long. Yeah, fucking killed it. Next week, talking about Way of the House Husband on Netflix. We had been wanting to watch that for a while now, and then after seeing the preview, we have been wanting to watch it less.
And especially since it's like the new season of anime coming out, and then boom.
So yeah, we're going to be doing that, though, and then after that, new season of anime, right? Preview, and then week after that, probably Garji's Wing. No, there's something else, I think. I was actually just talking to Sierra about this.
We decided to watch Ongoku Our Sound.
On Sound's happening, but no, there's one more thing that I forgot. I'll have to talk to you about it afterwards, because we got some shit planned, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah. Thank you again, you guys, for hanging out and listening to us ramble on. So,
yeah, if you like our theme song, check out Not Mars on Spotify. Trip, where can you find us?
You can find us on Facebook. Look up the Instagram Podcast. Same thing goes for Instagram. Look up the Instagram Podcast. If you want to find us on Twitter, send us a tweet. You could tweet at Instant Ramen Pod.
Pockets didn't fit.
Shoot us an email, instantRamenPodcast@gmail.com. And we stream every week when we're recording our episodes, sometime between 8 and 9 on Wednesday nights. Pacific Standard Time. On twitch.tv/Crispather. It's chill. We do a little bit of before and after. Sometimes it's a little bit before, sometimes a little bit after. Sometimes it's both. So.
Sometimes it's neither. Sometimes fuck it. Actually, that's not true. We never do neither. It's usually always before, though. I'm tired.
Yeah. We'll catch you guys next week for some whining about a show that we were looking forward to, and they're no longer.
Lastly, just always like anything. This is just our opinion. If you liked all those shows that we talked about, the ones that we shit on, if you love season 2 of Promised Neverland, cool. You're fucking delusional, but good for you.
Yeah, you're absolutely like. Normally, I'm like everyone's entitled to their own opinion.
Yeah.
But if you liked season 2 of The Promised Neverland, you don't have to read the manga. Yeah,
don't talk to me.
I don't fucking care about your opinion. Do not come at us. Yeah, I don't trust you. I would never trust you.
Don't email us. Don't at us.
If you email us, we will sign you up for every single spam website.
Okay. No, but yeah, again, in all honesty, you're allowed to like whatever you like. Again, just our opinion. So, okay, this is Bye from Juan.
I'll see you around, Chris.
Hey, Trip, don't forget.
Just add hot water.